Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I've got Green Bean and Matt O'Leary. Boys, how you doing tonight? Green Bean, I'm going to kick it to you first.
Dude, one more week closer to the draft. I couldn't be happier. I'm getting more excited by the day, man.
I love it. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. I'm amped up. Like Green Bean said, it's almost April, and when April comes around, we know what that means. It's NFL draft time.
Oh, I can't wait. We have a huge list of guests that are going to be hopping on the stream with us. We're going to be doing all 3 days of the NFL draft from start to finish. It is a grind for 3 days, but man, it is a lot of fun to get everyone's reactions in real time as it happens. Really, really cool. Guys, if you're just popping in, make sure you hit that like button. For every 25 likes we get on this video, we'll pick a qualifier for our t-shirt giveaway at the end of this stream. And if you're hanging out with us after the stream has already aired, all you have to do is leave a comment down below and you'll be entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway. All right. With that out of the way, I want to get some of your thoughts on things that have happened over the course of the last week or so since we last had our panel. The big one being Tyreek Hill and the Jets offering 2 second-round picks and a third-round pick to possibly get Tyreek Hill, and he wound up choosing the Miami Dolphins. So I want to get your thoughts on the whole situation, kind of what you thought about the player, what you thought about the picks we were giving up, and is there something maybe that we could be seeing down the pipeline here? Green Bean, I'll kick it to you first.
Well, you know, it's funny because I was listening to Just Jets today, and Matt touched on this in a good way, but it's like it was such a funny thing. It was so small, like so short of a period of time that everything just kind of went completely haywire. You know, it was like, all of a sudden the Jets and the Dolphins out of nowhere. And then it was like, oh my God, the Jets this really could happen. And then all of a sudden it was, no, we're not getting them. A division rival is getting them. And that division rival already has Jalen Waddle. So now it went from bliss to the darkness in like a matter of moments. It seemed like I wasn't even awake for an hour. That all said, man, it's not to say I wouldn't trade for Tyreek Hill. If I'm being honest, I wanted it. I definitely wanted it to happen. But I really do like having 35, 38, and 69. That is, think about that, man. After pick 10, the next pick would have been 101 picks later. So 101 picks with no New York Jets. Of course, we can trade and stuff like that, but that was the meat of our draft. And I think it's probably better that we pick 3 players, 2 of them premium picks rather than 1 Tyreek Hill, because, you know, doesn't seem to ever work for us. But that was a tough one, man.
Matt, what about you? How are you feeling on this?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, they very much so seem to be on the active front for looking for a wide receiver 1. So if someone like DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel become available, if their contract negotiations don't go well, then I would fully anticipate the Jets being all in on that. But I like the idea from Joe Douglas because, one, you're going to land a top 3 playmaker in the sport and not have to give up a first-round pick. That would have been insane. And I think just the ability to have that, not only the deep threat, but just the speed. We know the quote, Green Bean said it a million times with Joe Douglas and speed and the pressure and bursting the pipes. And, well, Tyreek Hill is just that. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that and spin it to that it's a perfect thing, that everything's gravy. They're going to have to adjust here, whether it's take a receiver at 10 or find another partner to trade with and acquire a number 1 receiver. But I think the thing that bugged me was the who comment when he was with Miami the day after. Like, I was never going to the Jets, which is bullshit because there was literally a deal in place. And we found out that Miami got in later. So it seemed like it was, hey, the Jets are offering this. Miami, do you want to get involved? And then he ended up going to Miami, which, again, kind of sucks because Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the same team is going to be very difficult to cover. But I don't know. Joe Douglas, that's why he gets paid the big bucks. He's got to figure it out now.
Well, did you hear what Joe Douglas said at the owners meeting about that, guys? Did you hear it?
I didn't hear it.
He said the best way to take away elite receivers is getting to the quarterback. So there you go. That's the way.
It's absolutely true. I think they're definitely looking D-end early on. Now, for me, when I heard Tyreek Hill, I was like, okay, this is weird. Like, he's from Miami, agents from Miami. Like, it's a ton of money that he's getting, and you're giving up a bunch of picks to get him. Like, it just, for me, it didn't feel like it all jived together. The whole, you know, I don't want to put too much emphasis on the character. I don't particularly like the guy, but I do think that it didn't really fit the mold of what Joe Douglas was bringing in. Like, they're always bringing in captains. They're always bringing in guys with good character, and it didn't seem to fit. And I do think there was part of me that felt like it was to the Chiefs' benefit for the Jets to raise the price for Miami. It was to Tyreek Hill's benefit for the Jets to raise the price for Miami, and it was to the Jets' benefit to raise the price for Miami as well. Now, I do think the Jets are interested, for sure, in getting a wide receiver. We've been talking about trading for a wide receiver all year, and I think this was one of those examples of them trying to go out and do just that. Now, the interesting thing for me, on a few different aspects, the contract is massive. 4 years, $120 million. While it doesn't say fully guaranteed, it pretty much is, because $72 million was fully guaranteed at signing. The other $50 million is fully guaranteed as of the first day of the 2023 league year. So unless you're thinking Tyreek Hill's going on a 1-year, $72 million deal, it's a fully guaranteed 4-year, $120 million contract.
Wow.
Like I said, I did not think the Jets were going to be in play for this. And money-wise, I'm pretty happy we didn't go that route. But at the same time, there's other receivers I would definitely pony up the money for. I like DK Metcalf. I like Deebo Samuel. I like A.J. Brown. You know, if Claypool shakes free, you won't have to sign him to a big contract yet. So there's a few other options that the Jets could go potentially in the future. But then there's also the thought process of what the Jets were willing to give up. Like Matt said, I love that they weren't going to give up a first-round pick. That's really cool. But it also kind of tells me, okay, the 2nd or the 35th, the 38th, and the 69th picks, we're okay losing those picks for the right wide receiver, which to me tells me if we like a player in the first round, we're willing to give up those picks to go up and get the guy. Now, that doesn't mean you're giving up all 3 of them, because Tyreek Hill is an established player. I don't remember if he's 28 or 29 years old, but either way, I think there's an established player, proven player aspect to this, where maybe we don't want to give up both those picks to move up. The other side of that is, like Green Bean was saying, we wind up losing, you know, it's 100 picks from pick 10 to the next pick we would have had. And that's just a massive amount of players that you're missing out on. And when you look at the, you know, we're probably seeing 3 quarterbacks go in the first round, possibly 4. That tells me that there's going to be some first round talent falling to pick 35 and to pick 38, and to give up on 2 first-round picks on 4-year contracts, that's kind of how I'm looking at it, would be a not the best move. And I understand it's not, you know, 100% shot that you're getting a legit guy, but you're getting, you know, now 4 players that are considered first-round picks, you know, in your first 4 picks. So I really like it a lot that we didn't give it up, but I do think we are going to target some other wide receivers coming up here before the draft. And Robert Saleh yesterday said when players become available, he thinks there's going to be more players become available before the draft. The Jets are going to be ready to swing, and Joe Douglas is going to swing that bat.
Yeah, I do love that aspect of it too, right? Because I think Joe Douglas realizes it's time to get a little bit aggressive here. Because I mean, we all love cap space and draft picks like everybody, but eventually you got to start getting some players in here and start winning some football games. And I think Douglas is realizing that. And just overall, I just like the aggressive play from him. And I agree. I think the next few weeks are going to be interesting to see if he tries to target anybody else.
Yeah, well, you know, some of us, I won't mention any bearded names, but some of us were talking about before this offseason that Joe Douglas now has his coaching staff. He now has his quarterback. He's effectively inside the rookie quarterback window. And he spent the last 2 years, cleaning up the dead cap from Mike Maccagnan, getting rid of the players that Mike Maccagnan invested in, whether it's draft picks or big contracts, Le'Veon Bell, all the way to Sam Darnold. This was the year that it looked like, now with the landscape kind of clean and with the coaching staff that he picked and the quarterback that he picked, that more than likely he would be more aggressive. So this is the year that we get to use all the assets that Joe Douglas has created, whether that be cap space or draft picks. And it looks to me, look, he went out in free agency. He nailed down that right guard spot. He brought back some key free agents from our own roster. He went out there and got a safety. He got a vet cornerback. He got 2 tight ends because this offense wants to run 12 personnel. So it looks to me like he is being aggressive, but that comment that he made at the owners' meetings about being aggressive but not being reckless, I think that's exactly what we're seeing. And this is kind of what I expected going in. Or let me say, not expected, but this is what I hoped. It looked to me like it made sense for this to be the year that he starts to open it up a little bit. And with the Amari Cooper, the Tyreek Hill, all those places where we find out Joe Douglas is sniffing around seems to be right in line with that. And this is why the last 2 years, everybody grumbling about 6 wins. It's like, let's let the guy get this right. Let's let him actually get rid of the muck before we start putting our furniture down. There's a lot of gross mold and shit on the floor. We gotta get that out first. And makes total sense what he's doing right now. And I expect him to use every dollar of cap space if he can.
Yeah, I definitely think this is the time to start to really do that. And one of the things I've been kind of harping on is we are not just seeing this free agent class come in. We are seeing this coaching staff and everyone else have a second year in the system. We're seeing everyone else, this year we're coming in. We didn't have Carl Lawson last year. We didn't have LaMarcus Joyner last year. We didn't have Mekhi Becton last year. So along with everyone else we've added, we're also adding guys that could be the top of their craft if everything's clicking the right way. I really like this. It's fascinating to me to see what winds up happening. Now, Robert Saleh yesterday, there were a few comments made talking about the owners meeting and whatnot, and the Jets possibly, is there any type of back and forth, take off the gloves, like knuckle boxing or whatever they were talking about with the offensive line and defensive line at the top of the draft. Now, it did look like Robert Saleh was, laughing it off. I don't think offensive line is going to be an option at 4 or 10. But Greenbean, did you hear the comment or do you know about the comment? And what do you think, based on what we've seen so far, do you think offensive lineman, defensive lineman is kind of where we're pulling in the beginning of this draft?
Well, yeah. Well, I think, look, we dance around all kinds of stuff. It's like just to have fun in the offseason. You got to explore all kinds of different options. But I think most of us have been saying for months, we're going edge in the beginning of the draft. If we don't, it's because a certain scenario plays itself out. Like, let's say the top 3 edge rushers go off the board, and then you're looking at a significant drop in talent and the other players in other positions are in a higher tier on their board, then obviously that can get in the way. But look, we've known that they're going to go edge. If they don't go line, defensive line, and particularly the defensive end position at the top of the draft, I'm going to be blown away. Really. It makes perfect sense. That's what the draft is strong in. And again, as we dance around and look at all these different beautiful options, I think it's all going to come right back to what we said in the beginning, which is the Jets are going edge at 4.
Matt, what about you? What do you think of the comments that Saleh made yesterday?
Yeah, I thought it was funny too, like kind of how he said we're going to get into a bare knuckle fight. And I thought the Joe Douglas comments today really confirmed what Greenbean was saying, where they fully believe Mekhi Becton is going to come back and be an offensive tackle for them this year. So that, that takes any idea of going offensive line at 4. And to me, that went out the window when you signed Laken Tomlinson. Like, completely different conversation before you signed Tomlinson to say, okay, we could take 𝐒𝐿 𝐿 or Evan Neal at 4 and go from there. But once you signed him, and then once you got the comments today from Douglas, I think it tells you everything you need to know. They're going to take Kayvon Thibodeaux. They're going to take maybe Jermaine Johnson. But at this point, I'd be stunned if it's anything other than edge at pick 4.
Yeah, that's really what we've all been saying too. We're strong in this draft with it. You can have your pick of the litter. There's a situation that could play out where Hutchinson winds up falling to the Jets. Like, let's say the Jags do go the offensive lineman and they get their left guard to pair with their left tackle and their new shiny right guard. That's not unreasonable to think, considering the investment they just made in Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. Now you go to number 2. It would shock anyone if Malik Willis went to number 2 with the Lions. Number 3, what happens with the Texans? Do they go with an edge rusher? Do they go with Hamilton? I know a lot of people have kind of pegged them for Hamilton at number 3. I mean, there's a real situation. The Jets could have their pick of the litter at number 4. It's fascinating to me.
I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. I'm telling you right now. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be sitting right there. We have 3 inept franchises in front of us, 2 of which have hired a coach a year ago, already fired the coach. Both situations have legal ramifications and all kinds of, whether it be racism, sexism, it's, you know what I mean? Like, we have slapdick organizations in front of us. They're going to make bad moves. And I also think that quarterbacks are in play. I think Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Karlaftis, JJ, they're all going to be sitting there, and we're going to pick the wrong one. That's how it's going to go.
No, don't do that to me. Don't do it to me.
We're going to fucking take Trayvon Walker. That's what we're going to do. You'll see.
No, if everyone's there, I'm okay with not going Trayvon Walker. But I'm telling you, dude, Trayvon Walker's going to go a lot higher than both you jabronis think.
No, he's not.
He's going to go.
I don't see
he's
it.
Gonna go, he's going to go in the top 3. I don't get it, but I think he is going to go in the top 3.
Oh, it's changed in the last 2 weeks. I got a ton of hell from you guys like 2 weeks ago.
Trayvon Walker's going.
Walker at 4. He might go top 3.
No, he's not. That's all baloney.
Dude, his metrics are wild. And I think he's exactly the type of player Robert Saleh likes.
His production.
You got JFM type versatility with like way higher metrics.
His production is dog shit. He's not impressive, man.
Tackle. He's been playing defensive tackle.
Yeah, I don't like him.
He's a tweener. Yeah. I don't like it. I'm with Green Bean. He's kind of like he's perfect. He's the 3-4 defensive end where you don't know if he should be playing on the inside.
3-4 defensive end, perfect. You ever watch the matchup with him and Evan Neal? You ever watch that one?
I haven't watched that one.
They have I think it's 10, 12 reps against each other. Yeah. That'll tell you all you need to know.
You think so?
I don't like him.
Well, then maybe he goes ahead of us. I still like Jermaine Johnson a lot. Look, I'd go that route. I like Trayvon Walker. I would go him. I would go Karlaftis. I would go Thibodeaux. I understand all the edge rushers. Take whoever you like, whichever one it is. Don't care. We need an edge rusher. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Karlaftis. That's my guy.
He's my guy too. He keeps falling though.
I was gonna say I saw him in the I think it was the Kuiper mock that had him at 30 to the Chiefs.
It's so dumb. There's no way, dude. You know what's funny? I was
up to go get him.
I was bugging out on Karlaftis last week, and then Blewett put out a video the other day on Karlaftis, this guy shouldn't be sliding like he is. And I had a brief chat with him, and I said, the thing I like most about Karlaftis is his ability to process what's in front of him. He's got a nice repertoire of moves, and he can instantaneously identify what's going on and adjust his moves accordingly. His processing speed is super fast. I mentioned that to Blewett, and he's like, dude, I can't agree more. The guy, he should not be outside of the conversation for the top 3 edge rushers. Look, I like Jermaine Johnson, and my top 2 are still Hutchinson and Thibodeaux, but Karlaftis is right there. And I tried to push him out. I did. I tried to push him away for other guys. And I would be psyched if Karlaftis was the guy if Hutchinson and Tibbs were gone.
Kevin Tagg drops in with a super chat. Because he's celebrating 15 months of membership, every month that you're a member of the Jets Talk 24/7 channel, you get a free super chat. So he says, cheers, guys. Finally made a live show. KT at 4. So Kevin is on board with the edge rusher at 4. We're right there with you. Mumtaz drops in with the super chat, says, I'm dreading KT at 4. There we go. See, we're getting right at
why.
Dreading KT at 4. And this is why I know that's what we would get. One guy with questions about effort, mental makeup, production, didn't do full combine, born to be a Jet, sorry to be negative here. There are some valid concerns about him disappearing in games. He's never had more than 7 sacks in a season. I can understand some of that. I don't want to say envy, but I do really like the way he talks about his pass rush moves and how he stacks moves throughout the course of a game and sets up the tackle to fail, if that makes sense. Like he's going to hit you with speed around the outside, speed around the outside, speed around the outside, and then he's going to hit you with the counter. Then he's going to hit you with the power move. Then he has all these different moves that he's going to wind up utilizing throughout the course of a game to wear down that tackle. And you may not feel the impact of him initially, but over the course of the game, it's going to get significantly stronger when you need him to get at his best later in the game. So I understand it. I don't love some of the things that happen with Thibodeaux, like the weird questioning and things like that. If they think he's way and away the most talented player here, no problem at all. Make the pick. I like Walker, I like Johnson, I like Karlaftis. I would be okay going any one of those guys. So I'm not going to totally rip on Kayvon, but I don't know. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on Mumtaz's super chat here?
I totally get it. And that's it goes right in line with the joke I made about Trayvon Walker. Look, the truth is that I do trust Joe Douglas. Again, I see an organization that is doing things the exact opposite of everything we've seen here forever. I just went over the Jets' first and second round picks in our history today. Why? I have no idea, but that's what I found myself doing, writing down how many of each position that we've taken since fucking 1970 and all that kind of stuff. And it's just interesting to see how many of the players that we've taken never amounted to anything. And I mean nothing. First round, second round, third round. Most of our picks never do anything. We saw Joe Douglas in his first draft with his coaching staff. It looked pretty damn good. Now, we don't know. You got to wait a few years, but it looked pretty damn good. And I think that their strength is player eval. I think that they have good scouts. They have a good system. They were, under Ozzie Newsome. This is a tried and true methodology. So I think whoever they pick is gonna more than likely be the right guy. We're talking edge. That's a Saleh, Ulbrich, Joe Douglas. This is the line. That's what these guys live, eat, and sleep, So I think they're gonna pick the right guy. And if that is Thibodeaux, then the character concerns aren't to be worried about, in my opinion, because they also place a premium on that. But I can't help agreeing with Mumtaz. I just have this ingrained fear, no matter which one we take, he's going to be the bum. You know what I mean? It's just, I can't help it. There's 4 or 5 great edge rushers, and we have pick of the litter, and we're going to take the wrong one. We do that all the time. And I can't help but be afraid. And it's going to take a little while before I'm 100% confident in Joe Douglas and crew.
Well, think about the pick of the litters that we've had. I shouldn't say pick of the litters, but think about we could have gone Becton. We could have gone Wirfs. Wirfs has played phenomenally well. We could have gone Mims. We could have gone Van Jefferson. We could have gone Claypool. We got Mims. There is a little bit of that where it's rats.
Yeah.
Really? We flubbed it up? I can understand it 100%. Matt, what about you? How you feeling about Mumtaz here?
I don't agree. I love Mumtaz, but I don't agree with his super chat. I really agree. There was another one in here. I got ahead of ourselves here reading some of these super chats, and it was one interview completely derailed the thought process on KT. This was someone who was the #1 pick for months, from August till December was the consensus #1 pick, and now the narrative that he might not even go in the top 10, it's just crazy. There's too much talent there. Yes, he likes branding and promoting himself. That's the 21st century athlete. We're gonna have to get used to this. You're gonna be the old man yelling at the cloud because more athletes.
Oh, you stole it out of my mouth. I was just about to say, old man yells at clouds. Look, I'm trying not to be.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be.
Well, I'm trying to
I know,
be
but that's
open to a lot of this stuff. I get it. I 100% understand it, but I don't think it's just one interview either. It was the Alabama comment. That's probably the one most people are talking about. But then there's also he brought up his brand 3 times over the course of a 15-minute interview with us, or there's just some weird things that he kind of keeps doing, and it's it feels like there's enough smoke there to be concerned about. And for me, it's just it's not so much that I dislike Thibodeaux as much as I like a lot of the other edge rushers. So like, why potentially risk that? Like number 4 is a statement pick. So I'm with you, Green Bean. If we wind up taking Thibodeaux, I do think he passed the character test for us, and I do trust our guys to make that decision, because that's something they've been, rock solid on. This locker room is so much stronger. I love seeing Braxton Berrios in Zach Wilson is good, and Zach Wilson wearing Braxton Berrios is good. Like, I love seeing those guys down in Florida. They're playing golf. They're just hanging out. Like, this is the team chemistry that you haven't seen from the Jets since like 2009, 2010, when those guys really started having dinner together and they were like hanging out more. Like, you need that. And that's part of the reason why drafting players and getting a core of young guys together is just so important. So, Mumtaz, I understand the doom and gloom. I get it. But hopefully we are going to go beyond that. Mitt Flair drops in with Super Chat, says, one random interview got everyone bugging on KT. If Hutchinson wasn't in this draft, KT would go number 1. Hutchinson may not go number 1 or 2, maybe not 3. I don't know if KT's necessarily the number 1 talent in this draft. Like, there's a lot of people that would consider Hamilton, regardless of what you think of the 40 time, and a few other players. There's offensive linemen. I've heard Sauce. Blewett thinks Sauce is the number 2 player in this draft overall. So, I think value of position is important, and KT plays the most valuable position on the defensive side of the ball. But I don't know if he necessarily goes number 1 overall. Matt, do you think KT would go number 1 overall if Hutchinson was not in this draft?
I think he should. I don't know if he would, but I think there's a lot of dumb organizations in front of us, like Green Bean said. Like, I am truly convinced that the top 2 is going to be number 1, Aiden Hutchinson, and then either Malik Willis or Trayvon Walker at number 2. I think there's a lot of smoke to Trayvon going number 2 overall, which I don't get, but I love it because that means better players are falling.
Green Bean, any thoughts on KT going number 1 overall if Hutchinson was not in this draft?
I think what you just said is very important. Like, fans think they know stuff, and the truth is that we know what they want us to know. Teams, trying to put things out, who they like. Did you see the thing the other day? The Jets are interested in Sauce Gardner. If that actually came from the Jets, in my opinion, it means we're not picking them. So it's all smoke and mirrors and all that shit. But I don't think it's such a lock that Aiden Hutchinson goes number 1. And even out of the edge rushers, Thibodeaux was the consensus number 1 for months and months and months. Aiden Hutchinson had that one game where he got 3 sacks and called out the lineman, and everybody went nuts. Very similar to the combine. Like, nobody was talking about Sauce Gardner before not nobody, but he definitely wasn't in the daily conversation about 4 overall. He runs really fast at the combine, looks really great in the drills, and all of a sudden people are obsessed with him. So, and it's not to say it's wrong. I'm just saying there's an ebb and flow to this. Every single year it happens very similarly, obviously with different players, but it's the same stuff all the time. So I don't think it's a lock that Aiden Hutchinson goes first. Don't forget his comments. He said he really wants to play in a 2-point stance. He said he's best in a 2-point stance and he's most comfortable in a 2-point stance. Why is nobody freaking out about that? We're a 4-down lineman team. We put hands in the dirt. That's what we do. Aiden Hutchinson said he's a 2-point stance. So why aren't we freaking out that he's not made for us in the same way that we talk about Trayvon Walker or Drake Jackson and all these other guys that we just wrote off because they're not a fit? What about Aiden Hutchinson? So I think there's just a lot there that we tend to overlook. And there's, in the same breath, there's a lot there that we get stuck on. And I don't think any of it's necessarily accurate.
Mutt Files drops in with a super chat. Mutt Files says, KT or Hutch at 4, any other pass rusher at 10, then I would be okay going wide receiver or cornerback at 4. Hold on, let me read this again. KT or Hutch at 4. Any other pass rusher at 10, then I would be okay going wide receiver or corner at 4. So he just wants edge rusher at one of our top 2 picks, whether it's KT or Hutch at 4. Maybe they're gone, and then he would go with one of the receivers or corners, and then go edge at 10. And I think that's probably where we are. I think that's definitely sort of in the wheelhouse. Green Bean, any thoughts on Val's comment here?
Let me see. Hutch at 4, any other pass rusher at 10. No, I don't. I think Again, it's going to depend on how they have them categorized, right? So, but just speaking in a general sense, I think if you wait until 10, so Tibbs and Hutch are gone, and you're at 4, and then you're going to wait 6 more picks until 10. I think if you don't have the next edge rusher in a completely different tier than these guys, you got to take them, because there's more. There's the potential that 3 or 4 of these guys can go. I mean, it's real. Edge rusher is the premium position on the defense. This happens to be a very strong and deep edge rusher class, deep at the top. Like, it's crazy that we have 5 to 7 guys that people are legitimately thinking could be top 15 picks. So I wouldn't want to do that. For me, it's edge rusher at 4 in most scenarios.
So let me throw this at you, because this is something I've been trying to think about, and it's in the same vein of, the Jets having every single edge rusher at their disposal at 4. Like, let's say the top 3 picks are not an edge rusher. Now, if you're sitting at 4, do you go your top edge rusher, or I guess it depends on how they feel about the edge rushers. If there's like a clump that they like, because now you got to think, let's say we go Sauce at 4. Now, 5 is probably offensive lineman to the Giants. I'd be surprised if it was any other decision. 6 to the Panthers is either going to be offensive line or quarterback. I would be surprised in any other capacity. Number 7 would be the next pick I see an edge rusher could go. I do think the Giants would take an edge rusher at 7 in that circumstance.
Totally.
At number 8, I'm not entirely sure where the Falcons go. Like, I want to say wide receiver because they just have no one there, but I could also see them waiting till the second round as well. Like, I think they could be playing that value game there, but I don't necessarily see edge rusher for them at 8. Then you got the Seahawks, which you could potentially say, okay, they could use a corner. They could use, I don't know, an offensive tackle. I've seen them sort of mocked as well, which means there's only really one edge rusher going before you potentially. But at least, between 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you would have to say 5 edge rushers are going to go before you at 10, right? Like, I think if you wind up in a situation where you have the pick of the litter at 4, it might not be the worst case scenario to pass on the edge rusher at 4. Take whoever you think is the best possible player. I mean, if it's an edge rusher, by all means do it. But because we have that 10 overall pick, it sort of creates an interesting dynamic here. Do you get what I'm saying, Green Bean? Like,
yeah, totally. I know. I'm with you.
What do you think?
Well, that's what I meant about if you have players. Let's say you have, just as an example, you have 𝐒𝐿, Hamilton, and Sauce. And at the end of the top tier, you have similar to, let's say, Thibodeaux and Hutchinson. So Thibodeaux and Hutchinson are gone, and you're left with, and let's say one more of those guys is gone. So you got 2 more from that tier. You could use either one, and the next edge rusher is in an entirely different tier. That's when you entertain drafting the best overall player. That said, I think that after maybe the top 2 edge rushers, the rest are going to be, at least that next chunk of the pack, those guys with some of the other guys that I just mentioned are going to be in a similar tier. So that's when you would take the edge rusher and get off of that. And I hear what you're saying, what's likely from each team, but every single year, teams go exactly the opposite of what everybody thought. A really good example is Penei Sewell with the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow had his knee ripped off. We thought it was, without question, there's no way they're not taking this best tackle in the whole draft, and they took Jamar Chase. It happens every year where teams don't give you what you think they're going to want to do because they're looking at value. I think the way you said it was maybe they'll play the value game. I think a lot of teams are going to do that because edge rusher is one of the hardest positions to fill, and it just so happens that we have a series of top 10 edge rushers, so I think you might be surprised with what you see. And for me, it's not necessarily worth that risk. Again, unless the guys that are remaining from the edge rusher are in a significantly lower tier, like just not on the same level as Sauce and Hamilton, who are next, as an example. Then you take Sauce or Hamilton. You know what I mean? And wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Scar Cities. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Words are hard tonight. Look, I have my concerns about KT, but if Salah and JD don't think he'll be a problem and take him, then I trust them. They know more than any of us. Yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the same wavelength. We trust our scouting department. If anything, I trust Joe Douglas's eye for talent, because even if you say that, you know, Becton has been kind of a bust of a pick, he's got the talent. If you say Mims has been a bust of a pick, he's got the talent. Like, I don't deny the talent evaluation part of it. It's just, can the player actually, you know, live up to it? So I'm right there with you, Scars, and I think a lot of us are with you as well. Square-headed Jets fan drops in with super chat, says, sounds like AJ, DK, and Debo are 100% not available. Who would be realistic trading option for wide receiver? I still think there's a realistic shot. If Malik Willis doesn't go number 2, the Steelers are coming all the way up to number 4, and we're going to get a haul of picks. Because we have these 2 first-round picks, and because of how deep this draft is at edge rusher, we can still fill our need at our biggest need of a position and get a monster load of picks, which could be used to then flip and get, like, you know, higher into the second round or higher into the first round. Like, I'm not opposed to trading out. I do want to take both the 4th pick and the 10th pick and get blue chip players here, but I don't think Joe Douglas necessarily has to feel the same way. Matt, this one goes over to you. What do you think about these 3 wide receivers? Do you think there's someone realistic that we could trade for?
Yeah, well, while you're asking the question, I was trying to think of other potential options who could be available, and it's tough. And I think, you know, it's really all dependent on how negotiations go with AJ, DK, and Deebo Samuel. And, like, I've heard that Brandon Cooks also isn't available, but, like, I'm just trying to read tea leaves here and think of guys who maybe are on the move. He would potentially be another one. But if you're unable to pry someone away, then I think you kind of would just, at least to me, stay at 10 and take your favorite receiver there. I think would probably be your next best alternative if you're not able to trade for a wide receiver 1.
Kim drops in with a super chat. Thank you, Kim. Says Thibodeaux at 4, Garrett Wilson or Hamilton at 10, or Sauce at 4 and Jermaine Johnson / Hamilton at 10. Your thoughts? I'm not a fan of Walker or Drake London. Love from Switzerland. 2:30 a.m. over here. Oh, dude. or not, amazing. Dude, dudette. Wow. Dedication. Thank you so much for hanging out with us at 2:30 in the morning. Okay, so interesting. Thibodeaux at 4, Garrett Wilson or Hamilton at 10. I can understand edge rusher and wide receiver. Like, that makes a ton of sense for me when you're reading, like, okay, which positions do we need based on where we went in free agency. I think it makes a ton of sense. As far as Hamilton, I don't know. I could go Hamilton at 10 if he's there, because I still like wide receiver in the 2nd or trading up back into the 1st for a wide receiver. I'm good with either one. I don't particularly want to go receiver at 10. If we went Sauce at 4 and, you know, Jermaine Johnson at 10, if you go Sauce at 4, you have to go edge rusher at 10. I said this when I did my Mel Kiper mock breakdown where he had Drake London and Sauce in his draft. I love both players, would take either one, but it has to be in conjunction with an edge rusher. I'm not getting out of the top 10 without an edge rusher. Greenbean, your thoughts?
I feel the same way, man. Now, again, like, you know, if we do, like, if that whole scenario that I stumbled and bumbled through a few minutes ago, if that happens and we have to take a different position, let's say it's Sauce at 4, you really do have to get an edge rusher at 10. And I think that puts a little bit more pressure, too, to reach a little bit for need, which I really hope the Jets don't get into. Now, if you got to reach a little bit, you know, guys rated 15 and, you know, something like that, that's fine. But when we start reaching and taking a player just because he's the last of the top edge rushers and you really don't love him, but you need to come out of the 1st with an edge, that's where I hope we don't go. And that's why I want to see him take one at 4. I just want him to take the best edge rusher on their board at 4 and call it a day, and then see how the rest of the draft falls to us. But I could see a scenario where Sauce or Hamilton go at 4. And if they do, I do happen to agree with you, although I don't like the scenario. I think, like, as much as I like some of the later round edge rushers, and I like Bonito, I obviously like Mafe. There's a quite a few guys 2nd to 4th round that I think are good, but they're 2nd to 4th round. And I don't want that to be our big edge rusher injection this year. I want a friggin' premium edge rusher. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Matt, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Green Bean there. Like, I don't want to overcomplicate things. Take the best edge rusher on your board at 4 because that's what's going to impact this defense most. And like, I think the only way that you'd be able to sell me on Hamilton would be the take him at 10 and trade back up into the first round and get a guy. That's not my preferred option either, just because to me, I feel like the sweet spot for safety is right at the top of the second round, which is perfect for the Jets. So that's another one of the reasons why I'm not on that bandwagon. But with the amount of capital they have the flexibility to get up into the first round for a third time if need be. So that's going to be something interesting to watch in the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we did not make 3 first-round picks this year. I think we're definitely coming up to make that pick.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think like Matt said, I do see a scenario where they do that, but you're going to lose. And we only have, like, we don't have 6th and 7th, so, unless they're going to start pulling stuff out of next year and all that. Like, I would hate to lose some of these picks to jump up. Like, I think at 35 and 38, there are going to be slam dunk candidates. And I think just wait, just wait there. Grab your 2 guys at 4 and 10 and do like everybody else does and wait out the round and see who pops through. We're going to be able to grab 2 of them. We're going to have our net sitting there waiting for all the people to just pop through the first round, scoop them up, and call it a day. I'd rather get 2 of them than 1 of them.
So my thought process on this is I'm looking at the back end of the draft, and the Packers and Chiefs have both traded away elite weapons in Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill. I think there is a realistic shot that both those teams are going to wind up going wide receiver. And depending on how many receivers go just ahead of them, like maybe if Atlanta takes one, if maybe Philly takes one, maybe the Bills see the writing on the wall and Diggs might be leaving, they take one, the Patriots possibly take one. Like, there's a lot of opportunities where like these receivers could go. And I don't think Green Bean, look, I want to make the picks, but I think there's situations where you can trade 35 and a third or 35 and a fourth and just come up just in front of the Chiefs and just in front of the Packers. Like, I think you could do that where you're not giving up all your picks, where you still have pick 38, or maybe you trade pick 38 and a third or 38 and a fourth.
I'd hate to do. Wait, so for who is it that I might have missed you say it, and I apologize.
I'm not saying for a particular wide receiver, but I'm saying there could be a lot of wide receivers that could go at the end of that first round, like the Chiefs, like the Packers. Those are teams that you would want to hop in front of to try and get a receiver. And I'm okay giving up a pick a little bit later to go up a few more picks to get our guy. If they think Watson's not going to be there, if they think Pickens isn't going to be there, I'm okay with that. Like, we already saw Joe Douglas offer up both seconds and a third to go get a receiver he wants. I think it's totally in the realm of possibility that he could give up less than that to go up and get a receiver he likes.
But let me ask you, do you think Joe Douglas wanted to trade 35, 38, and 69 for a wide receiver, or was it specifically that the unbelievable circumstance that Tyreek Hill specifically was available? Do you think that means Joe Douglas is out there desperately trying to get a wide receiver, or do you think, like they've been saying, if they see a specific opportunity that's rare, that they're going to take their swing? Like, I think it's more the latter than the former.
Sure. But I do think there's probably a level of, I don't want to say panic, but there's a level of like, okay, we know we get to the draft and they're not trading DK. They're not trading Samuel. They're not trading A.J. Brown. Now all of a sudden, okay, you got to go get your guy. But you understand that maybe the top 10 is not where your guy is, especially if you wind up trading down from 4. Now you got even more assets. Like, by all means, like, then you wind up going, your edge rusher at 10. Maybe at 20, you go Nakobe Dean or Zion Johnson to round out your offensive line. You trade McGovern for an extra pick, or you cut him, save a little bit of extra cap space, and then you come back up for your receiver. Like, there's a lot of different situations where I could see this happening, and I do think that Joe Douglas will go up and get back into the first, especially with those teams. If we don't go wide receiver at 10, I think we're coming back up into the first. That's kind of where I'm at on that. Jake drops in with the super chat. Jake says, you shouldn't want a player in the top 10 who seems like he needs to be motivated to play every down. I wouldn't touch KT. There's a top tier grinders. That's sort of where I'm at. And it's not that I don't think KT's a grinder, but I think there's a lot of other guys that might be more all in. Like, it's like KT to me almost feels like where Robert Saleh said something along the lines of, hey, these players are here because they want to be here. They want to play here. Like, if Kayvon Thibodeaux is so, here about his brand, like, is he going to be 100% focused on the game? He's going to be in the largest media market. He's going to grow his brand immensely. Is that something you could be concerned about when you have guys like Trayvon Walker coming from a military background, probably has a pretty structured, sound life. Jermaine Johnson, well-spoken, seems like he's got his stuff together, leaves the SEC. There's all these question marks about each one of these guys. Like Walker didn't have the production. Jermaine Johnson left the SEC to go to the ACC. Thibodeaux has these, maybe personality traits that you don't necessarily love. So Matt, I'm going to throw it towards your direction because I know you're definitely on the KT bandwagon as well. I don't want to say bandwagon, but KT, you definitely take KT. Are you concerned that maybe there's other grinders that you could get instead of KT?
No, I think you'd be taking a lesser player because you're afraid that someone's looking out for their brand. Like, I don't know. What are we doing here? Like, I feel like if someone has an iPhone, they have to come off the board. We only are drafting players with flip phones and who are not on social media. I guess that's the plan for 2022. I don't know. I think we're just way overthinking this.
Yeah, I tell you what though.
Chat. Ooh,
that new flip phone is impressive. You see that thing with the screen,
the folding,
Matt?
Right?
Is that what Matt's talking about?
That's a flip phone that I think is trendy.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the Motorola Razr, baby.
Yeah, my phone you're talking about.
I want the
right.
Envy. I want the Slide, baby. I missed the Envy 2 or the Envy 3, whatever it was.
Slide.
Shivanshu drops in with the super chat, says drafting wrong players is my fear too. No Hamilton. I'm with Matt on this one. I think the value at safety is in the second round. Like, in my ideal mind, I'm thinking edge rusher for wide receiver or corner at 10, and then I'm thinking wide receiver at 35, depending on if you went corner at 10. If not, then I'm going safety and linebacker. Like, I'm okay with passing on cornerback. Sauce is really like the exception to the rule, not like not the position that I necessarily want to go. So I'm right there with you, Shivanshu. I do think there's a little bit more to this. Chris Mazer, drops in the super chat, says teams couldn't scheme only KT if we got him like they would attempt to in college. Look at our entire D-line. If KT is there, it's a no-brainer to me. So the Jets definitely have an elite defensive line with Quinnen Williams, with JFM, and Carl Lawson coming back. We were expecting him to be close to 100%. Even if he's 90%, this is a stacked defensive line. Greenbean, I'll throw this one towards you. Do you think KT coming into this defensive line will have more success because of the other players on it?
Well, I think, again, we just watched these guys now, minus Carl Lawson. We watched these guys all year, and we were the 32nd ranked run defense, and we didn't exactly blow the world up with sacks. So I don't know how good we really are. I mean, we have, like you said, I mean, looking at it, it looks stacked, but Rankins was disappointing. JFM disappeared. Remember that? He got the contract. We were all like, yay. And then he did nothing for like 7 weeks. Remember that? It was like, where the hell did he go? So there's a lot of inconsistency on our defensive line. I think if they come on, like if Thibodeaux came on this line, if Quinnen plays up to potential, if JFM is a beneficiary of moving inside and Carl Lawson comes back and he plays the whole year and he's anything near what we hoped he'd be, yes. It definitely helps, guys, when there's more than one person on the defensive line to focus on. Then again, when you look at Aaron Donald, he don't give a shit who's on the line next to him. He dominates. You try to throw 3 guys at Aaron Donald, and he gets a sack. And that's the kind of guy that I hope that we bring on our team. That's what we need. Somebody that it doesn't matter who's next to him, but it's always a help if they have 2 or 3 guys that warrant double teams. Hello? Ryan, I can't hear you.
Me neither.
Sorry, I burped and I muted my mic before.
I thought I got kicked off again. I was like, oh shit, I'm done.
That's a Ryan mistake. Thomas M drops in with a super chat, says, did you guys see Chris Simmons' top 5 receiver list? If so, what did you think? So Sims receiver list, if you guys haven't seen it, it goes Jameson Williams number 1, Christian Watson number 2, Alec Pierce number 3, Treylon Burks number 4, Drake London number 5. So Garrett Wilson does not fall into this top 5 situation. And I don't agree with this list of players. I would say Jameson Williams, if healthy, is the number 1 receiver. I would agree with that. Christian Watson could be, an elite option, but I think his production with a player like Trey Lance, who was drafted 3 overall last year, there's questions there. Like, I don't think I would put him ahead of Garrett Wilson or Treylon Burks or Drake London at this point. I like him a lot, but it's all based on projection. Alec Pierce, love him, but sort of the same situation, like maybe lower level of competition. I don't know. Treylon Burks and Drake London are interesting because London definitely was force-fed the ball. He was the focal point of that offense. And Treylon Burks, they kind of like manufactured a lot of touches for him, kind of like a Deebo Samuel, which is fine, but it's, I think, a little deceiving. Like, Burks for me would be a little bit lower. Pierce would be a little bit lower. Watson would be a little bit lower. I would have London up higher. I would have Garrett Wilson up higher for sure. So, Matt, I want to hear your thoughts on Sims' top 5 receivers.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. His rankings are always like, I don't know, out there. I don't agree with the list. I'm with you. Like, where is Alec Pierce expected to go? Is he? I haven't heard his name in first round conversation ever. Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, Jameson Williams, Drake London, and either Watson or Dotson would be my 5th receiver, I think.
Green Bean, I want to hear your thoughts on this top 5 list as well. What are you thinking?
I think it's. I think it's ridiculous. I like everybody up there. I hold Christian Watson and Alec Pierce clearly. At best, bottom of the first, but I look at them as second-round picks. I think that both of them, but particularly Watson, is going to have the learning curve in the NFL. I think that he's going to have that rough rookie season. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I see. Talented. It's just, I don't know, man. Guys do well at the combine. Again, we look at, I like to watch full game tape. I like to see what they do. I like to see them blocking. When talking about wide receivers, I like to see what they're doing on plays that they don't get the ball. And it's not always what you want. And again, I just think, I like everybody on the list. I think Garrett Wilson not being up there is a little bit of a mistake. I think he's top 2 in this draft, maybe top 3. But yeah, I don't know. My first thought is I always think they're going for shock value. Chris Sims doesn't necessarily do that. He tends to nail some stuff that's outside the box a little bit more than everybody else. So you got to at least respect the list. But I think this one's off.
Ricky Cooch drops in with a super chat. Thank you, Ricky. He says, Green Bean, have you checked out Cordell Volson from from North Dakota State? Gotta watch TV with my wife tonight, but want to check in first. So, Green Bean, you know anything about Volson?
No, I have not. Let me look over. Hold on. No, I haven't done anything on him. Cordell Volson. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, buddy. I'd like to cut it up with you. Cordell Volson. Right. Nope.
We're not.
Yeah, I feel bad. Let me see here. Right. I want to see where if he's even on my lists. I make lists of guys that I need to check out too. I don't even remember his name. So sorry, buddy. I'll check for you. I'll do it tonight.
Travis celebrates 3 months of membership. Thank you so much. You get a free super chat for each month that you are a member of the channel. He says, has any of you looked at South Dakota State running back Pierre Strong? Round 5 or 6, maybe bring him up on practice team. He looks like a beast. I haven't watched him. If there was a running back that I would love to target, it's James Cook. Like, that's the guy that I'm kind of keeping my eye on because I love the NFL lineage with his brother, and I do think he's an elite weapon out of the backfield as well. Would complement Michael Carter really well. I'm not necessarily looking running back, but I'm thinking, 4th, 5th round. If someone's there, I'm okay with it. So, Matt, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think about the running back position?
Yeah, and unfortunately, guys, it's gonna have to be the last one again because I gotta write this post game coming up here. But
Trucker.
I know it sucks. I'm trying to do everything at once, and it's like I don't know, not the best time for me right now. But I agree. I'm looking running back in like the 4th or 5th round. I don't know a ton about Pierre Strong, but I like Brian Robinson out of Alabama. I like the Cincinnati running back. I like Haskins. I think they should add a bigger body back to complement Michael Carter because I feel like Carter and Tevin Coleman, they're a little bit more of the speedster guys who can make, catches out of the backfield and stuff like that. I think they need a good short yardage back, and that's what I would be looking for on day 3 in the draft.
Matt, anything else you want to plug for our panel tonight? Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to be back. April is just going to be insane. Tons of draft content coming at you, and can't wait to continue to talk it up with you guys.
I love it, Matt. Oh, do I have the thing? Oh, I did. I gotta put the chicken on this side so I can eject your ass.
Yeah,
That's the graphic I'm missing right now. All right, Matt, it's been fun.
All right, see you guys.
To the green bean and
later,
Ryan
Matt.
Experience. Bam, there he is. Green bean with a little heart. Okay, who are we up to now? We got Robbie. Robbie is celebrating some membership time as well. Robbie celebrates 13 months of membership, so he gets a free super chat. Says KT at 4 and find a way to draft Sauce equals lock in Hill and Diggs. Gonna be a big issue for the Jets. Got a lot of wide receivers in this division now. Top end guys, like top 10 receivers in Diggs and Hill. Greenby, what do you think about going KT and Sauce?
At 10, yeah, I mean, there could be a case for Sauce. I still maintain I don't think the Jets need to use one of our 9 picks on the cornerback position this year. It's just where I am. Next year, there'll be a guy that everybody's saying is the best cornerback in the world coming out. If the guys that we have, if DJ Reed, Bryce Hall, Brandon Eccles, Michael Carter, Javelin Guidry, Isaiah Dunn, if they don't work out or there's a weak cog in there, we can absolutely use next year's first-round pick to ensure a cornerback. I think we put a lot of resources into the cornerback room these past 2 years, and I'd rather see our guys in year 2 rather than kind of upend what we did last year. Like we took an entire year to develop these guys and get them through the system into the base defense and all that stuff. Let's let them run it back after an entire offseason with the Jets, with our doctors, with our nutritionists and medical staff. They know the playbook. They know what's going on. They know each other. Let's run it back. We added an $11 million young 25-year-old but vet cornerback to the room. So now, would I hate Sauce at 10? No, I would not hate Sauce at 10. I think he's absolutely a top 10 talent. That said, again, I would rather see us go another direction and just kind of push cornerback off of our board for this year.
So let's say Sauce is sitting there at 10 and every wide receiver is still on the board. Which direction you going?
Oh, I'm going to go
edge at 4.
Yeah, I don't love the wide receivers in the first either, but I would choose wide receiver over cornerback for sure. But I don't know. Oh, I still like Treylon Burks, man. I'm still arguing with myself over Garrett Wilson and Treylon Burks as my wide receiver 1. I know he had a slow 40 time. Everybody just dumped him on his ass because he ran 4.55. And I don't look at it like that. I liked his game tape. I liked his production. I liked his interview stuff, things I've seen with him. I like him as a person, a player, all those things. And I think that he could be a really good asset. He's not exactly what we have. He's a little bit different than what we already have. And I think Treylon Burks would be fantastic. That said, I'm struggling. I would really try to trade back, but I'm all about grabbing the best linebacker in the draft at 10. I'm like, whoever our best linebacker is, if it's Devin Lloyd, fucking grab him. Bring your edge in, bring your linebacker in, and everything's changed. My real hope is that Kyle Hamilton will slide to 10. It's not happening, but I would love that. And I think as we say, run to the podium with Kyle Hamilton's name on the ticket.
See, I would love Sauce at 10. I love the player. I think it's great. I understand, corner not baby being as critical of a position, but I think in my mind, I'm looking at DJ Reed and I'm seeing him as cornerback 1 right now. But I'm also looking at Hall and seeing some of the reports, and it depends if you buy into it at all, that teams were throwing at him because he wasn't going to make an interception. He wasn't going to make that type of play on the ball. If that's the case, I'm sorry. I'd rather have him relegated to the 3rd cornerback role, have him and DJ Reed after 2 years determine, okay, has Reed lived up to his contract? Perfect. Let's extend him and do that. Has Reed not lived up to the contract? Has Hall developed? Okay, let's extend Hall. And that's sort of the direction I would go. I think Sauce is kind of outside of that discussion because he is such a top end talent as far as it goes, because you'd wind up having him for 5 years. Now, obviously, there's a few more things to go. Obviously, he has to hit. He's played college, not NFL. There's a few things there for sure. John drops in the super chat, says, as long as we don't take an injured player, I trust JD. My preferences is pass rush at 4, wide receiver at 10. Next, either linebacker or cornerback. Go Jets. Yeah, look, I think we're all on board. No injured players. I don't want to go that route at all. Stingley, totally off my board. I don't care how good he was his freshman year. I'm not touching him. And I can understand if people maybe don't want to go Jermaine Williams.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand that. I think injury prone is the one thing that should eliminate every player off our board. Even 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞, a little bit later.
Yeah. It sucks, man. And look, and I can't express enough how sad I am for these guys. They work their whole lives. They're both going to be, just these two in particular, 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 and Williams. Dude, they were going to be first-round picks. Jameson Williams was going to be the top wide receiver in the class, most likely. I mean, it's very likely that he was going to be the first wide receiver, and now they have to deal with this shit. That said, it's hard to pass on talent like that, but we need guys that are going to play. Now, if they're in the 2nd round, now maybe not 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 because we're already going to get an edge rusher, but if we didn't get a wide receiver and Jameson Williams is still sitting there, I feel like Jameson is wrong right now. Am I saying his name wrong all of a sudden? I just burnt myself out.
Williams. I know. I just had too. I was like, Jameson. I was like, that's the Crowder guy. I was like, that's
yeah,
not
but
Williams,
I just had
and I'm thinking Williamson. I'm like, all these names are like.
Yeah, I just had sparks in the head. I'm frying out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, if he's there in the 2nd, even though that he's probably not going to play the first half of the season, he's going to need time to come back and all that. I think he might be hard to pass up in the 2nd, definitely the 3rd, but he's not making it there. But I definitely would take him. He's going to be a first-round pick, I think. And like you were talking about, to one of those teams toward the end of the 1st round, that do want a wide receiver, I think that they have the luxury of being able to take him.
Yeah, for me, there's this weird argument where okay, if we're gonna trade up a little bit, and you think he's the guy, and he's the middle of the 20s, and you think Corey, if you're running 12 personnel, you got your 2 tight ends, you got your running back in Carter, and you've got Corey Davis and Elijah Moore, maybe Jameson Williams sitting for a month or 2. And then having him for the next 4.5 years isn't the worst decision. But I want to avoid the injury wide receivers at this point because we don't have to go that route. Ibrahima John drops in with super chat. He says the Jets have an insane road to the AFC to deal with, and with all the trades, Wilson, Adams, Hill, etc., the Jets need to offer pick number 10 and a 4th for TJ Watt and bring his 20-plus sacks to New York. I would love that. I would give up number 4 for TJ Watt. No questions asked. Unless he's saying pick 10 and the 4th. I would not give up both first-round picks, both top 10 picks for him, because I think we can get a really good edge rusher, but I would absolutely give up the 4th overall pick for TJ Watt. No questions asked. Greenbean, would you give up number 4 or 10 for TJ Watt?
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a question. He's already among the best, if not the best rusher in the league. I mean, and that's what you hope these draft picks are going to be. The only downside is the contract. He's already getting paid. So you all of a sudden have that big hit to the cap, whether or not we can weather that. I mean, I don't know, but I say, yeah, I mean, without question, in my opinion, you figure that one out and you bring TJ Watt in for 4 or 10.
Kool-Aid drops in with super chat. Thank you, brother. Says, which Jets away game would you guys prefer going to? Vikings, Packers, or Browns? Also draft KT and Burks. Jet up. Keep up the good work, boys. Thanks so much. If I had to pick a game between the Vikings, the Packers, and the Browns, I would pick the Packers just because I really want to try and go to Lambeau Field. I have no interest in going to Cleveland, and I have no real interest in going to see the Vikings. It would definitely be the Packers for me.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, the last time I went and watched a game in Cleveland, I got into a huge brawl where I sadly had to beat up like 15 Brown fans. And then I got arrested. So I don't want to go back there for that. And then the Viking Stadium is stunningly gorgeous. I was in Minneapolis last year, and I got to check out their stadium. It's gorgeous, man. So I might want to see that. But I think I'm with you. Go into the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. I mean, that's, what football fan wouldn't want to at least spend one afternoon in that stadium?
Yeah, maybe it depends on what time of year. Because if it's like December or January,
I still do it.
Maybe I'll go a different route. We'll see.
I still do it.
Dude, I understand it. Shivanshu drops in with a super chat, says, Ryan, you scared everyone off KT for Sauce. That's like, so I'm like trying to, so fun fact, I like going onto other football forums without people knowing who I am. I want to try and diagnose my thought process without any kind of bias. And me saying like, hey, I really like Sauce, I'm worried about KT. I understand with the platform that I have, there's, I'm going to skew opinions certain ways. And I don't want to do that because I'm trying to give my genuine thoughts on things. And, there's issues with that. But I do like, I like Sauce. And I have some concerns about KT. Greenbean, have you ever run into like those kind of thought processes?
Well, yeah. I mean, we get stuck on all kinds of stuff, all year. There are players that I liked in the beginning that I don't like. There are players that I didn't like that I do like. And there are definitely bugaboos. Like we get bugaboos. And sometimes it's even hard to place, how much I dislike a player for what's in front of me. It's like, I know this shouldn't be this shouldn't be pushing me off the player so much, but it is. I have a bad feeling about this player. Now, the sad thing is that I've been right a lot, Ryan. I'm wrong a lot too, obviously, but
sure.
There are players that I absolutely loved that everybody said was dookie and they end up slipping to the sixth, or I don't know why they're slipping, and they're so good. And then, they come into the NFL and they end up making good. And then they're one of those late round steals that somebody gets, and it's never us, So I like that stuff. And I don't know. I think the best thing for me, though, is watching the other fans with their bugaboos, like Jet Nation. I like to watch all of our fan base, like the trends, like what they like and what they don't and why. Mm-hmm. Like a Connor News, like Rich Cimini puts out a tweet that says, hey, keep an eye on these guys. Elijah Moore's friends with them, and he went to the same school as this guy, and the Jets know him from when they were together in San Francisco. There's nothing else to the tweet, and we haven't stopped talking about these three guys for a week. And it's just a funny thing. Like, I like to identify and observe that kind of stuff. I have my own crazy, don't get me wrong, but that's really one of my favorite things to do all year, especially this time of year, is watch the trends of our fandom.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I get messages all the time. I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Green Empire Lawn Care drops in some chat, says, how high can the Jets move up with 2 second-round picks? So the Jets have picked 35 and 38. The values of those are 550 and 520, which gives you 1,070.
23? No, it's 16, isn't it?
1,070. That would get you up to between picks 15 and 14. So that means you could get up to the Philly pick where Joe Douglas has a little bit of familiarity with that team. So a potential. I don't want to give up both seconds to go up that high, but if there's a receiver you love and they're falling that far, by all means, it's such an important position. Go up and do it. Who do I have? Mutt Viles. Mutt Viles drops in with a super chat. Mutt Viles says, wide receiver 1, what will JD do? Draft or trade? And who is it? I think he wants to trade. I do think we want a veteran in the room. I think there's so many young players on this offensive side of the ball that we're trying to trade for someone like a Cooper, like a Calvin Ridley, like a Tyreek Hill. I think that is definitely where they're trying to go. If they're able to trade for Brown, Samuel, or DK, or Brandon Cooks, or something along those lines, I think they'll go that route over drafting a wide receiver high. But I do think we are going to take a wide receiver because Corey Davis is only on this team for maybe another year. Green Bean, your thoughts?
Yeah. If Corey Davis doesn't come out and have a really solid year, like I'm talking, 900 yards minimum kind of a thing, and he limits those drops, man. There were drops that were so key. 2 of Zach's picks. Think about this. 2 of Zach's picks, potentially 3. There's another one you can argue, but at least 2 of Zach Wilson's interceptions were directly in the hands of Corey Davis. He dropped it or popped it up, and it gave So when we look at these stats and shit, like that was a great pass. And it goes down as an interception for Zachy Poo. The drive is dead, all that kind of stuff. So Corey Davis really needs to get it together. If he doesn't, he's gone after this year. It was a 2-year experiment, and I think that we'll have the guys in-house to replace him. But I'm hoping he is under contract for 2 more years, as we stated. Like we can get out of it after this year. If he has a really good year, let's say 1,000 yards, and he's one of Zach's favorite targets, I could see them keeping him. It's not that 100%. Much money,
Your whole Zachy Poo comment made me think of Robert Saleh yesterday calling Mims Mimsy. It made me laugh a little bit.
Yeah, they love Mims, man. Everybody going to brace themselves for Mims.
I hope so, dude. If he can wind up being like even at like a number 2 or 3 receiver, that saves us a ton. Boogie Down Bronx drops in with Super Chat, says, do you guys think the Jets will look to drafting wide receiver Calvin Austin maybe in the 2nd round or 3rd round? He's super fast, good route runner. I'll be honest, I don't know about him, Boogie Down Bronx, so I can't really speak intelligently about it. There's a lot of receivers before I have gotten to him that I do really like. Like I would take Pickens, I would take Watson, I would take Dotson, Pierce. Like there's a lot of guys that I would prefer to go. I mean, but that's me without watching him. So I don't have the full story. Green Bay, do you know anything about Calvin Austin?
Yeah, I like Calvin Austin. Did you guys see? I'm pretty sure it was Calvin Austin. I saw a tweet yesterday about the official 40 time. I'm pretty sure it's Calvin Austin. He had an official 40 time of 4.32, which is lightning fast. But he had an unofficial time of 4.03. And they did this deconstruction of his 40 time, trying to say, what the hell's the NFL doing with their official results? And he crosses the line. Like you look at the clock and you look at his foot, head, and chest. He is across the line at 4.03. If that happened, he's the fastest man in NFL history. But and more than likely a 1st round pick. But he's 4.32. He's right in the pack. He's going to be a 3rd rounder, or maybe a 2nd rounder. But I really like him. He comes from a smaller program. So again, he's more than likely going to have like a slow turnaround to coming into the NFL. And that's one of the things that's why you take guys with talent in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. It's because of that, because you know that they're not going to come in most likely and have that immediate impact. That's who you want up top. It's not only about talent. It's about how pro ready they are. How ready are they to come in and contribute right now? Calvin Austin's probably going to be, he might be a 2nd round pick. I view him as a 3rd, but I think he's going to be a damn good 3rd round pick.
Taps any button, drops in with Super Chat, says, I want Garrett Wilson. He's a true number 1 wide receiver. Only wide receiver I want right now. Personally, I believe we have to go edge at 4, wide receiver at 10, unless we trade for either. Garrett Wilson, to me, looks like Odell Beckham Jr., and I love it. I really like the talent that Odell brings to the team, brings to the NFL in general. So if the Jets wind up going edge and Garrett Wilson, I'm not going to have any issue with that. Green Bean, your thoughts?
Garrett Wilson, yeah, like I said, I mean, I teeter with him being my favorite wide receiver in the class. I mean, I tend to really like Treylon Burks. Again, I know he's kind of fallen off people's lists. He went from 10 overall arguments to being, he's in the second round and you don't even know if you want him. It's just a crazy, crazy, crazy world. I happen to like Treylon Burks and I happen to like Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson's precision, like surgical route running is really something that this regime likes. You know what though? I caught something at the combine. I actually talked to a couple breakdown guys. I reached out to them and said, "Hey, check this out and take a look at and let me know what you think." And it was that Garrett Wilson in all the drills, like in the gauntlet, he tends to jump when he doesn't need to jump, which is a scary thing for the NFL. It shows it could allude to a lack of confidence. And when you leave your feet, what happens when you leave your feet unnecessarily? You lose the ability to do things with your feet. So I don't know how that's going to translate to the NFL, but it has to be worked out. Like he jumps in the air for regular catches, and that's a little bugaboo for me. It wouldn't take him off my board or anything, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. But I like Garrett Wilson. I think he's absolutely worthy of being the first wide receiver taken in the draft.
Yeah, I would say I completely agree with you on that thought process. If you're jumping up in the air, you don't have the ability to cut and get away from guys. So it is a concern for sure. Something to monitor, I think, at the very least. Alex drops in with a super chat, says, anyone who doesn't want Thibodeaux needs to watch some film. Unless he's a serious locker room cancer, he needs to be the pick. I really like a lot of the other edge rushers. I have no problem if they make the pick at Thibodeaux, because I trust Saleh to judge edge rushers. I trust Joe Douglas to evaluate talent. I have no problem with Thibodeaux at 4, but I think there's plenty of other edge rushers that you could definitely go as well. Shavanchu drops in with a super chat. Let me find it real quick. Bam. He says, waited too long in wide receiver deep drafts in 2014 and 2020, and it backfired. Love Watson, but he's raw. Pickens is injury prone. Missed a ton of games in 2020 as well. I don't know enough about Pickens' injury history in 2020. I'd have to dive a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah, I'll take a look. I'll take a look right now. I have this all.
Look up what the injury is too, because I think the ACL in the spring, I'm not concerned about. The guy tested well, so at least it tells me the metrics are there. I think he could have been one of the top receivers taken. I think if he wound up playing a full season at Georgia this year, there's something there's an aspect for me for drafting guys with a chip on their shoulder. Pickens, to me, is the kind of violent receiver that wants to throw a block and lay some dude out and go catch a ball. That's the type of player I think he is. But if there's an injury concern overall, he probably has to come off our board. I think that's probably right from what Shavanchu's saying.
Yeah, he missed a few games in 2020 as well. But remember this, man, this brings back a very, very similar conversation that you and I had in 2020. Who was my favorite receiver in that draft? Do you remember? In 2020?
Laviska Shenault.
Laviska motherfucking Shenault, right? That's my guy. And what was the reason that I just said I just can't justify taking him up top in the first? Second round, different story. But it was all because of his injury history. Now, Laviska Shenault has been pretty good in the NFL, and I don't know if he's been injured, but he's played at least most of his games. So the injury thing hasn't really taken root, if I remember correctly. And look, Bryce Hall slipped to the 5th because everybody was afraid of his injury, his ankle. And he's the only player on our team that played all 17 games last year. So you never know with that stuff. I get what Lima Bean is saying here. That it is a concern, man. It is a concern. That said, I might take George Pickens. I think I would take George Pickens. He's probably my secret little favorite receiver in the whole draft. He's dominating when he plays.
Yep. Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. Andrew Yale drops in with super chat, says, fellas, thought on later round running back. Offense is run first. I'm going to say it time and again. I have favorites each year, and James Cook, the brother of Dalvin Cook from Georgia, is my top running back that I would like to target. Not necessarily the top running back overall, but like based on where I think I would prefer to take him, Cook is the guy I would look at. Greenman, you got a guy?
I do. And I will also say that I think in my mock that's coming out soon is going to be fun. But I like Isaiah Spiller. That's my guy. I also like Rachaad White. Now, that said, I like Walker. I like Cook. I like Breece Hall. There's a few guys I like. I don't really love Algier. But Isaiah Spiller's my guy and Rachaad White. But I think you might be surprised with how early the Jets go running back in this draft.
That would be fascinating to me because the second round, if you wind up going, let's say, maybe they go edge, wide receiver, safety, that second round pick, it could be linebacker, it could be running back. Like, I could see them going a little bit higher than I would necessarily think, but I would like to kind of wait a little bit on it. Chitty Took drops in with Super Chat, says, get KD, trade down, and get Christian Watson. I really like Christian Watson a lot. I would have no problem with that sort of situation. Mumtaz drops in, says, JD said that they pivoted to tight ends because wide receiver market was going crazy. Mentioned walkaway number. I do think one trade up would occur. I don't mind if we trade back one of the top 2 picks first. Yeah, especially if you move down from 4 and you get a haul of picks to slide back to 20. I'm 100% moving back into the 20s. Like I might even move back into like above 20 if I had to. Like if they think a receiver's falling that they love, and you just got, the Steelers' first round pick for 2023, you got, 2, 3, and another 3 next year. Like, yeah, dude, I'm 100% moving back up to get a wide receiver. I do think that the wide receiver explosion as far as contract goes was a hindrance for us, and that's partly why we went tight end. But I do think tight end we needed a revamp. I also think that because we got 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐫, I'm pretty sure McBride is probably going the tail end of the first round here. Green Bean, any thoughts on the explosion of the wide receiver contracts and the Jets possibly looking to go wide receiver in the draft instead?
Amen. It makes a whole boatload of sense. Now, but interestingly, we don't know if this is going to stick. This was Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill. Those guys have already made their bones in the NFL, as both have been argued as the number 1 wide receiver threat in the entire NFL. Both of them have had that said about them. Now let's see. Well, then you got Christian Kirk, who got $21 million friggin' dollars. So who knows? But I don't know if this is going to stick, especially when Davante Adams and or Tyreek Hill disappoint the next year. This reminds me of the running back explosion a couple years ago when Gurley got a huge contract. Le'Veon Bell got a big 1 year, a big contract, and he was holding out for, they gave him $14 million. He said no. There was a few guys that got this big contract, and then what happened? A year later, Gurley's knee injury, and his career was essentially not over, but he was a different shell of himself. So all those teams that considered paying a running back a lot of money, the whole NFL shut down on that. Now, I don't think it'll be the same with wide receiver, but I think there's something that could happen. This is a peak. I don't know if it's going to stick and stay that way.
Louis V drops in with a super chat, says, say what you want about Sims, but he has a track record of amazing projections for college players. I have seen his projections for the quarterback position, and I know that he had Mahomes up high. He had Zach Wilson up high. There were a few other drafts where he was like, okay, like dialed into guys that were not the top dude. So look, I value Sim's opinion, and it's like you said, Green Bean, earlier. I think there's something to like, hey, maybe we should take a second look at these players. And look, based on the way Watson tested and some of these guys, it wouldn't shock me to see these players perform better. Like Michael Thomas, I think was a 2nd or 3rd round pick, and he's one of the best receivers probably in his own draft class. I don't know who else was in it, but by and large, you can get really good players later on that could be better than the 1st round guys. So I think it's entirely possible right there. Marcus Metcalf drops in with a super chat, says, KT reminds me of Clowney, all the talent and a low motor, when Khalil Mack went 4 picks later with a high motor. I don't think KT has a low motor at all. I do think he has a high motor, but I think there's times where he disappears, and I don't know if that's a talent thing or if it's a, like, maybe he's tired, or I don't know. It's just, it's a little weird that he kind of like disappears in some game tape. Green Bean, any thoughts on him possibly reminding you of 𝐒𝐿 𝐞𝐞𝐚? I know he's compared himself to 𝐒𝐿 𝐞𝐞𝐚.
Yeah, but I don't think their games really mimic each other that much as far as their talent, like their skill sets. I know he has compared himself and he said he models himself after 𝐒𝐿 𝐞𝐞𝐚, which made a lot of people scratch their heads. But at the collegiate level, 𝐞𝐞𝐚 was, pretty good guy to model after. But obviously he's been a disappointment in the NFL, but only because he was picked number 1. If 𝐒𝐿 𝐞𝐞𝐚 was picked later in the first, he's had a very consistent and very upper level career. He just never became that elite pass rusher. Very, very good against the run, gets, 8, 9, 10. I don't think he ever got 10. He's been like 9.5 twice or something like that. But I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much about that. If we would have had 𝐒𝐿 𝐞𝐞𝐚 or that level of production exactly the same on our team the last 10 years, we'd be wanting them in the Hall of Fame.
Adam S. drops in with his member super chat. Thank you for being a member for 15 months, Adam. Really means a lot. He says, no wide receiver at 10, wide receiver late first after a trade or in the second. Adam, I'm totally on board with you there, 100%. Braden Bethwaite says, check your Gmail. I sent you an interesting mock to look at. I will pull it up real quick. Let me see if I can throw it. Let's see if I can get it really fast.
Kenneth, what are you doing? Hold on. Kenneth, stop spamming, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Boot him if he's not doing well.
Nah, he's good. He's been here. I just want you to know, like, that I gotta have to time you out and shit, so don't do that.
So let's see. Braden says Kayvon at 5. What are we trading down with the Giants? That's ridiculous.
That's right. Kayvon at 5, buddy.
I would take so Kayvon at 5. That's probably a situation where we're like, hey, Giants, look, the Panthers are trying to come up for an offensive lineman. Give us your 4th round pick, your 5th round pick. You come up, get the offensive lineman. We'll slide back 1 pick, get the extra player that we like because of the Senior Bowl. We can get a guy later on, and then you wind up getting the edge rusher at 5. I don't really have a problem with that. I don't know where you're going with the trade down sort of situation, but he has Devin Lloyd at 18, Drake London at 35, Devontae Wyatt at 36, Breece Hall 38. There's no way these guys are falling that far. Boye Mafe 49, Raymond, the tackle from Central Michigan. I don't think it's super realistic there, Braden. Just my quick thoughts on that. Chair Run drops in with super chat, says, I don't want a short, speedy wide receiver. We have that in Elijah Moore. Zach's still working on his accuracy, and muscle like Burks could make some tough catches for him. I do think that, personally, I would prefer the Jets to go after someone that does not fit the Berrios and Elijah Moore mold. Like, I would like someone like a Drake London that has a massive catch radius. They were rumored to go after Mike Williams from the Chargers, who has a similar profile. So I'm in agreement here. I don't particularly want the short, speedy wide receiver unless he can really, burn the top off of a defense. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on wide receiver? Is there a particular style of receiver you're looking to go?
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of the 6'2" and above, high pointer, kind of good blocker. Those are the receivers that I prefer, and I'd rather have the whole team like that. I'd rather have, 2 big outside receivers, 2 big tight ends, and maybe 1 slot type of receiver. But the thing is, if you look at it like it's redundant to grab a guy that has a similar skill set to Elijah Moore, this offense is really predicated on precision, right? That's the whole thing that we keep hearing, really tight routes and all that. So if you have an Elijah Moore and another guy that can do that, why not have them getting open all day? I mean, if that's what they want to do, just have that really shifty kind of guy that knows how to lose the defender to get into the seam, catch the ball, and then can make guys miss and get down the field. I mean, if that's what they want to do, I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's going to be really telling, Ryan, because before Saleh and those guys got here, every single receiver Joe Douglas brought in was 6'2" and above. Since they've been here, obviously we use a 2nd-round pick on Elijah Moore, so things are changing. So I don't really know which direction they're going to go. I could see them going with like a Garrett Wilson or a Calvin Austin later, and kind of mimicking that Elijah Moore because of the surgical style route running that they bring. I know what they're saying. It makes it easier for Zach Wilson if you get a little bit bigger receiver, wider catch radius, and all that sort of stuff. That helps. But you know what else helps? Getting to where Zach Wilson, Zach Wilson getting to trust that you're going to be exactly where he wants you to be. That has its own benefit.
Ricky Cooch drops in with the super chat for $1. Thank you so much. He drops in with another $1 super chat. So again, Ricky, thank you so much. I want to jump to this super chat real quick because I'm pretty sure Hugh Gardner, my boy, is on a cruise ship right now, and he's dropping in a super chat. He says, Ryan, 680 viewers. You trade up in the mid to early 20s if Dean or Linderbaum are still there. Oh, man, dude. One, I hope you're enjoying your vacation because I'm pretty sure you're with Charlie and Brian right now. And second off, I love Nakobe Dean and I love Tyler Linderbaum. I don't think Linderbaum's getting past the Ravens at 14 because they lost Bozeman, so I do think that's where he's going to wind up going. Nakobe Dean, if he's there in the 20s, if we did not trade down to get him, I would have no problem trading up to get him. I really like him. I think he's a violent linebacker. Green Bean, your thoughts on Nakobe Dean?
Yeah, I'm not convinced that Dean would be their target. I think it leans that way because of what we did with the 2 converted safeties last year. And if you look at Salah's history, he tends to want tweeners, guys that are probably more likely to be good in coverage. We saw it with Sherwood and Nasruddin and all that. So, I mean, Lloyd seems like the better linebacker for me, but Dean might fit their mold. And I think, like I said, man, I happen to think that we're going edge linebacker. That's what I think we're doing in this draft. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. So if we ended up trading back up, let's say we went edge and Hamilton, and then we traded back up to 23 or, whatever it is to get Dean, I would be ecstatic, man. I would really be happy with that. Linderbaum, I'd love Linderbaum. I don't think Linderbaum is on their radar. I just don't. He doesn't seem like their guy to me. He's light. He's not versatile. As good as he is, he's stuck. He's a 285 pound or 89 pound maybe center, and that's it. So if there's any issues on the line, he doesn't offer anything like Vera Tucker. Like a lot of the other guys that we're bringing on, they can play multiple positions on the line. Look at Fant. He's going back and forth. Look at Edoga. Look at Connor McDermott. All these guys that they bring on, and then even Laken Tomlinson, while we're going to stick him on the left side, he can play right guard too. He played it all through college. So, anyway, I don't think Linderbaum's on their radar. If we decided to pick him, I'd be happy about it, but I don't know how that's going to work.
Matt DuBois, I see your comment in the live chat. You sent a super chat. We got a little bit of a backlog, so we're definitely getting into it. We're ripping through some super chats right now, so don't you worry, brother. We'll get to it. Dustin Keller drops in with the super chat, says, starting the campaign to draft Michael Mayer 2023. I don't think I need the Halloween actor to be, going after people in our backfield. I have no idea who Michael Mayer is. Do you know who that is in 2023?
No, I don't.
All right. Sorry, dude. Nicholas George the King, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, if you were in the stream yesterday, all we have to do is trade for Baker. Yeah, that's the dude that got bounced from the stream real quick last night. I was like, yeah, I'm not having that. Whoop.
Oh, what happened? He wanted you to trade for Baker Mayfield?
Like, trade for Baker. Sam's not, or Zach's not doing anything. All this stuff. I was like, I'm not about that right now. Thomas Cahill drops in with super chat, says, we absolutely must pick defensive tackle. Wyatt, Winfrey, or Davis can be later in the draft, but it is a must. I don't know if it is.
Yeah, me neither.
We just bring in at defensive tackle. We just got the Solomon Thomas. Dude, I like that. That's a great pickup for the New York Jets.
Very solid. I agree. I mean, when you look at our defensive tackle, now granted, Saleh wants to have that very healthy rotation, so I think we would warrant bringing in more than maybe some other teams. But look, man, we have Sheldon Rankins, Quinnen Williams, JFM, Solomon Thomas, Jonathan Marshall, Nathan Shepard. And I still think we're going to bring Kyle Phillips back when he realizes that nobody's going to give him more money or something. I think that's what I think. But that's 6 guys right there. for a 2-position rotation. That's 3 deep. So I don't know if it's really a need. Now, if they don't like him, I mean, they just decided to bring Nathan Shepard back. So they must like him, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know.
Michael drops in with a super chat. Thank you, Michael. Much appreciated. DJ Sin says, Sauce, Jermaine Johnson, trade up 35 plus 36 and a future third to get Jameson Williams or London if he falls. Idea from Jets today fills all needs. Look, I love Sauce. I love Jermaine Johnson. Would absolutely endorse both those picks. And I think Jameson Williams is the best wide receiver in this draft class. If you want to give up 35, 69, I think is the pick, and a future third to come up to get the receiver you covet, especially like I think the NFL doesn't. I think they're not afraid of the ACL. You saw Gallup and Godwin both get 60 million plus on their contracts. It would not shock me for the Jets to possibly go that route as well. I do think Jameson Williams. I have a little bit of a tough time going with it because of the injury for sure.
Yeah,
but I think the talent is absolutely there. And Green Bean, I'm going to let you say your thoughts, and I'm going to go take a leak.
Gonna go take a leak. Let's see. So Sauce, Jermaine Johnson, trade up 35, and you mean 69, and a future third to get where? I mean, where do you want to get to use you want to use 2/3 and a second to jump into the first? I think that's rich. I think that's pretty rich, especially to go up there and grab an injured wide receiver. Now, that said, I agree with what Ryan said, which I believe Jameson Williams would have been the #1 wide receiver taken in this draft class. I think he's the closest thing to what we saw at the top of the last 2 years' draft classes, which is like the Jerry Jeudy's, the Jamar Chases. Like the last 2 years' draft class had those clear packs of guys up top. Last year it was Chase, Waddle, Devonta Smith, and the year before it was Judy, Lamb, Ruggs, and all those guys. So I think Jalen Williams would have been the guy. That said, I'm not using 3 picks to get him. I don't know. D join 6. This is my Jack Daniels shirt, fella, right? You wants me to make a Jack Daniels and green bean stalk shirt. We'll make millions, man. But I don't know, man. Now trading up to get a wide receiver, again, I don't think we're going to do that because I think 35 is prime real estate to get those guys. That's like panic, to me. It just feels like panic. Like we've already taken 2 guys in the first and we can't wait till pick 35, which is this 3rd pick in the 5th round. We can't wait that long. We have to give up our future assets to kind of jump up. I don't think there's anybody, the draft class isn't so good that you have to do that. I think waiting 35 and having 2 picks in a 3-pick stretch is about as positive as you can get. I think I'd wait.
Travis drops in with super chat. He says, hoping I can make it to the Broncos game. I'm assuming that is a home game. I don't actually know, but we'd love to see you there. I think we're going to do the home opener again. Green Bay, we'll do. I think so. We'll coordinate it really good this year too. We'll make sure that we are where we say. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to do the whole tour thing, right? Mm-hmm. We'll be somewhere. We'll see if it's Gotham City, if it's Jet Nation, if we make our own thing. Either way, we're gonna all go there. I think opening day is a pretty good bet. I'm in Virginia now, so I can come back up. Like I was in Virginia last year when we did it, so it wasn't that difficult for me to get there as opposed to being in, Sedona or something like that, Yellowstone. So, but yeah, it's a great time. I hope that everybody can come hang with us, and we'll make sure that it's more defined this year. Chris drops in, says he's celebrated 13 months of membership. Thank you so much. You get your free super chat for being a member of the channel. Says, what is your worst case scenario in the first, second round as far as players we didn't get, especially the ones you really want? My worst case scenario right now, Hamilton at 4. Is it Hamilton or is it off? It's probably Hamilton at 4. It's probably like Linderbaum at 10. Like I don't love going that route. Like it's players I don't hate, but I don't want to see us go that route. And then maybe it's like a running back in the second round at 35 and then a wide receiver at 30. Like there's a few players. It's hard to kind of hammer that one down. What about you, Green Bean?
What did you first? Yeah, worst case would be very similar to what you said. Like, let's say we drafted like Jordan Davis at 10, and then at 4, and then Tyler Linderbaum at 10. It's not that I don't like the players, and I wouldn't be devastated. Like, there were years in the past when I was like, why in the world did you take that player? I wouldn't feel like that. But that would be one of my worst case scenarios. Or like we trade back, like what Parcells did to us in 1998. We had the number 1 overall pick. Orlando Pace was sitting right there, just a truly generational left tackle. We traded back, got a 3rd and a 5th, and then we took James Farrior. And then we got Dedrick Ward. So we got Dedrick Ward and James Farrior instead of Orlando Pace. That's the kind of shit I don't want to see. Smart. Like Joe Douglas said in his interview at the owners meetings, he said, we have a real opportunity. We have 4 top 40 picks. If we get this right, it can be monumental for us. I agree.
Jose drops in a super chat, says, I want Jameson Williams at 10. Let's get the talent. Look, if they are not afraid of the ACL and they think Williams is the guy, I think he's the top wide receiver. Green Bean, I know you've said you think he might be the top wide receiver there. I think if they're not afraid of it, no problems there, but the injury concerns me enough where I wouldn't take him at 10. Daniel drops in a super chat, says, I want Sauce, Edge, and Wilson. Can we do it? Probably not. I do think that the Jets would have to go Sauce at 4. I don't think he makes it to 10. And then I would say as far as our brother Sack Exchange dropped in. Brother, I'll get to your super chat
What's
in
up?
a second. I'm going to jump ahead because Sack is a good friggin' dude. Not that all you other guys aren't good dudes, but Sack helped me out
That's
yesterday.
what I heard.
I'm going to help Sack out today as well. So give me just a second, dude. I'll get to it in just a second. Sauce, Edge, and Wilson. I think you can get Sauce and Wilson plus an edge that isn't a top edge. Sure. I think you could go that route for sure. All right, where's Sauce? Let me get let me get Sack's super chat up there real quick. He says, "What's
Super
up, brothers?
Sack.
Ryan, loved having you in the Jets Lounge. Tents are ordered for inaugural Jets Lounge tailgate. Just getting started, guys. You tailgate with us. Your fam, dude. Sack Exchange. I am sure we will see you. But we loved seeing you the home opener this year. We're absolutely going to see you this year as well. Now, if you guys have not hung out on Twitter in any of the Jet Lounges, they are so much fun. I was jumping in one yesterday. It had Connie, the scout for the Jets, and T. Rich. Great questions. Tons of people wind up jumping into it. Like, highly suggest you going over to the Jets Lounge on Twitter and checking it out. Sack does a great job over there with all their guys. Let's see. I think Michael Dubois, you're up next. Let me see. Yes. Okay. Bam. Michael Dubois says, what tight ends do you guys like in rounds 4 through 6 other than Jelani Woods? I think we draft another one to develop behind 𝐒𝐮𝐬 and Conklin. Look, if there's a tight end, I would prefer to go a little bit later. Charlie Kolar is kind of my guy. I like the captain moniker. I think he's got all the talent in the world. I really like him a lot. Greenman, is there a tight end you're particularly looking at potentially in the 4 to 6 range?
4 to 6, yeah, man. There's I like Ferguson a lot. I think he might go a little earlier than that, but I don't know, man. I think we kind of get all horned up for these guys, but I think Ferguson could be there in the 4th, and I would love him. I like Dolchich, and I also like Jelani Woods. I like him. Did you guys see Ron Middleton running the tight end drills at the UVA Pro Day?
Loved it.
That's so cool. And look, I wish I knew, Ryan. I'm literally 15 minutes from there. Where I sit right now, I'm 15 minutes from where they were doing that. Not that they'd let me in, but I could have hung out outside and got Ron Middleton. That could have been an easy grab. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What's up, man? I wish I knew. I like Jelani Woods. I actually like quite a few of the tight ends. I like Cade Otton. I like Kolar. I like Lucas Krull. So if I had my choice of like 4th round tight ends, I might want Ferguson if he made it there. I think that would be the guy I grabbed, and they used him a lot in the Senior Bowl, and he played perfectly. And I think that they like him So I think that will be a really good get for us in the 4th.
Dylan Grace says, I think I missed his super. Oh, I definitely missed your super chat, Dylan. Hold on. Give me just a second. Let me find it, and I will
I
get
think
to it.
you missed my super chat.
I 100% did. I am so sorry. And I missed. Did I? Oh, and I missed. Did I miss? Oh man, I missed disregard Papa too. So okay, let me rip through those real quick. Sorry, man, I can't believe I did that. I'm usually pretty good at this whole thing. Michael Dubois, Dylan. Sorry. Oh man, I can't believe I did that.
You missed 44 super chats.
I'm a bad person. That's what it is. I'm like, I wind up talking and hanging out, and I screw this all up.
That's all right. You know what I did last night, Ryan, while you figure it out? We had on the Monday Night Mock, we had 2 different sims going. I had the PFF sim, and then I had the traditional PFN sim, and we were going back and forth and running 2 drafts. In the PFN sim, I just pulled off, well, not just me, but we just pulled off a trade with the Carolina Panthers in the 2nd to go from 35th to like 100 and something. We got next year's 1st. It was like we were really being aggressive and having fun. And then I did that thing on Max where you put 2 fingers on the trackpad and it goes back.
Yup.
I just took it off. I grabbed my wife and like, you have to take that off. But I completely cleared the mock.
All right, real quick. Matt Robbins says, Wilson and Braxton bromance, # Brady Edelman. I hope so, dude. I absolutely love it. Dylan, your super chat, I'm really sorry, says, is there an unconventional or unexpected draft you would be happy with? What would you have to be scratching your, or what would have you scratching your head but saying, okay, JD, I see it? It would be Hamilton and Linderbaum. That, like, I love both players, but I don't love the selection. That would be my, like, Like, I think edge rusher should be a pick, and I think wide receiver should be a pick. And if we went those 2, I'd be like, What about you, Green Bean?
You know what? If we decided to go with, like, the tackle, you know, like if we went Icky at 4 and, like, wide receiver at 10, like, that is the exact opposite of what I'm hoping to see. But I would go, okay. Like they're committing to something. They're making sure this offensive line, like I would do exactly that. Like I would justify it. I go, okay, they're just at all costs. They're making sure Zach has every available resource to succeed. And then I would quickly buy in. That's what I think.
Disregard Papa drops in with the super chat. Sorry for waiting so long on this one. I apologize. Says, thoughts on London compared to the other wide receivers in the draft. London, if he winds up running fast at his pro day, it's coming up. I absolutely think he could be an elite wide receiver in this class. If he winds up running like a 4.55 or below, this is like scary good for that type of wide receiver. And I do think he would be worthy of the number 10 overall pick. I think he's worthy of the number 10 overall pick anyway. But is there another wide receiver? Thoughts on London compared to other wide receivers in this draft? I think London provides a particular type of skill set that other receivers in this draft don't have, really. That's my thought on that. Green Bean, your thoughts?
Well, again, just like you said, I mean, Watson is, London is a big-bodied wide receiver, and he has that kind of that skill set that, obviously a high pointer. He's tough to bring down and all that sort of stuff. But we have that with Corey Davis and Denzel Mims. What fans wrote him off, but I'm not so sure the coaching staff did. But like bringing on another one, while that's how I look at it, I think that they might want to try to attract a skill set that they don't have yet, or at least some sort of hybrid between the big-bodied guy and the little shifty guy. Like we have Berrios and Elijah Moore. We have Corey Davis and Denzel Mims. So I think somebody to kind of be an intermediary between there. And that's kind of where I see, I know Watson is sort of Elijah Moore-esque, but I see him like in that middle, like a little bit in that middle tier. And that's why I would classify London and like you're definitely going big-bodied wide receiver when you grab him.
100%.
Olave would fit that middle. Yeah, sorry. Olave was what I was thinking of.
Yeah. I get where you're going. Dom C, What's up, brother? He says Pickens, 92 catches at the University of Georgia. More than half were in 2019. Dominant as a freshman. Hindered after that. Very similar to Derek Stingley Jr. Just saying.
That's Dom's boy.
Look, I get it. But so Dom, here's where my difference is. Stingley is considered a top-end first-round pick, where Pickens is considered a second-round pick. I'm willing to roll the dice on the elite nature of a second-round pick. If Stingley's there in the second round, sure, by all means, go after him. No problems, no questions asked. I think the talent outweighs the injury concern. I did not know Pickens had half his catches in 2019. That is something to look into for sure.
It is.
That surprises me. I didn't know that.
I did. Yeah, last year was right. He missed 11 games. Yeah. I mean, I like Pickens' game. He's got a good point. I mean, it's definitely a good point. I think the thing with Stingley, just like you said, is that we're talking about his talent is rising him to the argument that he's the number one cornerback in the draft. George Pickens, they're not talking like that. Like, I wouldn't take George Pickens because of that reason in the first round. Like, I'm looking at George Pickens as a second round pick, and I think because of that, there's a difference in the two players. But yeah, Dom's going to take every little sneaky avenue to try to remind us that Stingley's a stud. He loves himself some Stingley.
Dude, Domsey's a legit dude. Domsey knows his breakdowns. If you haven't checked out Domsey's breakdowns on Green Bean's website, you should definitely check him out. Domsey's a good dude. Matt Zizzleman drops him in the super chat, says, sorry, just started tuning in. Would you rather trade both seconds or number 10 for A.J. Brown or DK? I would trade number 10 for an elite wide receiver if they were going to plan on taking a receiver at number 10. If the thought was we're not taking a receiver at number 10, I don't want to trade that pick for another wide receiver. Though I do think DK and A.J. Brown are worthy of it, so I understand that. But I would trade both seconds for either of these players if the trade would be accepted before I trade number 10 for one of them, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. Green Bean, your thoughts?
Well, if you just look at the value, right, like number 10 is 1,300, 35 and 38 are 1,100. So there's a differential there of 200 points, which is, where is it? It's like, that's a third round pick, number 78. So that has to be considered. That said, you're getting two still premier players at 35 and 38. So there's that argument. At the same time, neither of those guys are going to be top 10 players. So that's an interesting question. And I would probably change my opinion often on it. But I think if I had to make the decision, I think I'm keeping 10 and I would push 35 and 38 out as opposed to the other way around.
Edward Ziff drops in with the super chat, says, Green Bean, please do not do a trade mock. Get 10. Well, hold on. Green Bean, please do trade mock. Get 10 second round picks. If you could get 10 second round picks, I don't know how you do that, but yeah, dude, that would be absolutely incredible. Green Bean, I don't know how you do that, but maybe that should be your next 10 o'clock mock.
Well, I'm going to do the last 2 years I did videos where I did what if, which is accepting every trade that's presented. Like, you accept if there's more than one, sent to you at the same time, you just pick one of them. But what he's talking about, if you accept all these trades, you can just compile second round picks. Now, do you want to compile second round picks for this year? And it's going to be hard to get all those seconds, but yeah, that's fun. And then you just take 10 players in the second. Why not?
Marty Thompson, Aussie Jet, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Members of the channel, I want you to drop some JETS in the chat because we got some great emojis on the channel. If you guys haven't checked out the emojis that we have, I have a lot of fun throughout the season. Like I did an F the Pats emoji thing. I change them all the time. So the emojis you see right now are not what you get during the season. It's all sorts of scrambled around, and we have a lot of fun. So, Marty, thank you so much for joining the membership tier again. Means a hell of a lot. Nicholas, George the King, says, just trade for Baker. Okay, if you know... Oh, God, acronyms. IFKYK. If you know, you know. If you know, you know, because you were here yesterday. Oh, man, there you go. See, I'm figuring out my context clues right now. Really like that. Fat Gandalf drops in with a super chat, says, Bean, you're close. We're going edge. Thibodeaux Johnson, who did both edge and linebacker drills at the combine. Wow. Okay, so if you went, man, that means they probably don't believe that Lawson is going to be the guy right now. I don't think that's the case. I think they believe in Lawson. I think we go edge with one of the top two. I don't think we double dip that high. Green Bean, your thoughts?
Edge. I'll tell you what, that would also be like the question before, what happened that was outside of the normal, but you would be like, okay, if we decided just to go like Thibodeaux, Karlaftis, or like he said, Tibbs and Jermaine Johnson, while I would be like, wow, I would never expect it, I would applaud it. Like, we are going to kill people. We're making sure our pass rush is done right. And then in the second round, they grab a tackle and a guard. Like, we're not playing games anymore. We're going to own the trenches. I would applaud it. I'm not rooting for it. I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't exactly argue with the logic.
Let's see who we got up next. Next one is John. John drops in with the $2 super chat. Thank you, John. Says, just reviewed the 2016 draft, 15 legit players in it. I don't know if that's the entire thing, but let me pull up the draft right now. It went Goff, Wentz, Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Ramsey, Ronnie Stanley, DeForest Buckner. Then at 13, you had Laramie Tunsil. That was the gas mask fiasco. Keanu Neal, the safety from the Falcons that went to the Cowboys this past year. Ryan Kelly, the center from Alabama. Kenny Clark, defensive tackle, Green Bay. Jalen Smith, linebacker, to the Cowboys. Chris Jones, Xavier Howard, Derrick Henry, Michael Thomas. That's a beefy draft. There's some really good guys. The top 69 guys, there's like a handful of dudes that were – the first 7 picks were all like Pro Bowl caliber dudes. And you hope that's where the Jets wind up going this year for sure. Jets NY 102 drops in with super chat, says, Dean to cover the screen. It's that simple. I love 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻 Dean. If you go back and look at the postseason video that we all did on Richie's channel over on Jets Media, I love 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻 Dean. I've been like hyping 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐫𝐷ean Dean for the longest time. He's probably my second favorite player. I would say Sauce is my favorite. 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐫𝐷ean's Dean's my second favorite. And it's just because I have certain players that I fall in love with each year. It's not that I think they are worthy of a top 10 pick or anything like that. But if we went Sauce and we went 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐫𝐷ean Dean, I shouldn't say that because I don't want that. I do think edge rusher should be one of our top 2 picks, but I do think that I love both those players. And if we came away with both of them or one of them, totally excited. No questions asked there. B. Trav drops in with a $10 super chat. Thank you, dude. I apologize. I have no idea where that super chat is, and if you meant to have a comment with it, I don't know where it is, so I apologize about that. Matt Robbins drops in with super chat. Says, thoughts on Drake London, #N'Keal Harry. Ooh, man, that's like a kick in the balls because N'Keal Harry I thought was going to be really good.
Me too.
Is he similar to Drake London? That scares me. Like, that's part of me feels like when you're looking at receiver, there's so much value at the back end of the first or the top of the second that I don't want to go top 10. I really don't. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on like the top 10 versus going a little bit later at receiver?
Well, that's kind of what I've been saying for a long time. I don't see the top 10 receiver in this draft class. Again, if they do and they decide just to grab the top receiver on their board, I'm fine with it. But I don't think that the receivers, I think it's a deeper kind of lumped together draft class wide receiver wise than it is kind of spread out with really elite guys up top. I just don't see it that way. N'Keal Harry's tough, man. You can say that every year about you can pick one player and say, hey, look, this guy failed as a first round pick or whatever. I thought N'Keal Harry was a fantastic pick. I was worried that he went to the Patriots. I couldn't believe that they got N'Keal Harry. And it just turned out that he ended up not working out. And that's the weird thing about the draft, man. You just, you got everything checked out on a guy, his talent, his makeup, everything's there. And he comes into the NFL, the bright lights blind him, and he sucks. You never know.
Dude, the draft is such a crapshoot. Statistically speaking, the first round is 50-50. So of pick 4 and pick 10, we're likely to have one player hit of those picks.
Crazy.
That's like terrifying. Absolutely terrifying to think of that. So look,
It is.
I like that. I love N'Keal Harry coming out of, what was it, Arizona State? I think he was one of the Herm Edwards guys.
Sorry.
I think he was, at least. No, that's cool. Guys, make sure you drop a like in the down below, because we are picking qualifiers for our t-shirt giveaway at the end of this stream. Let's see. Who do we got? We got a few more super chats to get through. But we got Kevin Chada, 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐿, Adam S, Matthias, Simon, He Hate Me, Greg Gagny, sorry. Adam S, Lucas K _18, Gohan Angered, Jets Forever. And we're going to keep picking some qualifiers. So make sure you drop that like down below. It means a whole heck of a lot. Michael DeBoy, brother, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, thoughts on this: Thibodeaux at 4, Garrett Wilson at 10, Brisker at 35, Pickens at 38, 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐞𝐬𝐿 Sanders at 69, Greg Dulcich at 111, Troy Anderson 118, linebacker, then Pierce Strong, running back, 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐬𝐿 offensive guard in the 5th. Yes, I'll sign up for this all day. I like Thibodeaux.
Yeah.
I like the talent. I love Garrett Wilson. I think he's Odell Beckham Jr., who I think is an elite wide receiver in this league. Brisker, I don't think he makes it out of the first round. I really don't. I think he's going to wind up going like inside the top 25. I think he's really good. I think teams are going to try and target him for sure. He had a really good pro day from what I heard. Pickens, I love at 38. 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐬𝐿 Sanders, if he's there at 69, no problem there. And I know Green Bean likes Greg Dulcich as well. So yeah, I'm signing up for this mock all damn day.
Yeah, it's a good draft all the way down to Cade Mays, man. I mean, this is a good one. The only thing I would say, I would prefer not to get 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐬𝐿 Sanders. There's a few other guys in that tier that I would prefer. Maybe I like Nick Benito. I've been digging in on him. I like Cameron Thomas, Kingsley Enagbare a little bit better. Maybe even Sam Williams. I wouldn't be unhappy with a 3rd round 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐬𝐿 Sanders, but there might be some other guys I take there. But I'm telling you, I would sign up for this every day of the week.
Boys and girls, make sure you hit that like button. We're going to pick our t-shirt qualifier in just a little bit. Green Bean, I'm going to have you go over to our stream from last week. We're going to pick 5 people from last week's stream who wound up commenting in the comment section down below. Thomas Cahill drops in the super chat, says, guys, can we find just one world changer? I hope so.
What?
I really hope so. I just want to see someone. Thomas Cahill says, can we find just one world changer?
Just one.
I just want one game changer. Just one game changer.
Right.
That's all I need. All right, guys. So let me take a look real quick. Let's see who we got in the comment section. Right now, I got Kevin Chada, 𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐬𝐿, Adam S, Matthias Simon, He Hate Me, Greg Gagny, Adam S, Lucas K, Gohan Angered, Jets Forever, Ryan Remington, Emanon. We got Mike Saunders. Let's keep ripping some Nightbot comments. If you guys are going to hang out with us for the draft, all you have to do is be in the chat to be qualified for tickets, for jerseys. We're giving away a whole bunch of stuff. We got some great guys lined up. We got Richie from Jets Media, Ali from Loyal NY Jet Fans, Jake Asman, NYJ Today. We got Sack Exchange, Joe Blewett, Robbie Sabo. We got Luke Grant. We got Boy Green. We got a whole bunch of people dropping in for the
awesome.
for the NFL draft. Oh, it's gonna be legit. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's going to be so killer, man. It's going to be the best. I hope you guys can come with us because, well, I'm even giving a giveaway an old pair of shoes that I have. You know, it's going to be good.
This is new to me. I did not know that.
Yeah, I've been waiting to surprise you.
I love it. This is the kind of stuff that we like have that's off the cuff here on the Talkin' Jets panel. This is like, no joke, each year that we do this live stream for the NFL draft, it's an entirely new experience because the quality gets better, the interaction gets better, the amount of people in the chat explodes. Like by the time you wind up seeing like, okay, there's been this trade, there's been this thing, the chat skyrockets because it's probably a minute. It's a minute ahead of us because of the YouTube live delay that we have. Plus, from where we're saying things, there's probably about a 10 or 15 second delay from that. So there's this whole thing. You can watch the draft and see everything that's going on and then come back to us and see like, oh man, what are these guys saying? A lot of fun. A lot of fun for sure. All right. Let's see. Marty Thomas drops in with a super chat. Thank you, Aussie Jet. Hope you're looking at this upside down so you can read it correctly. He says, Aussie Jet says, dark horse offensive tackle Darian Kinnard. KY. Like the jelly or like Kentucky? What are you trying to get at here? Sorry. Had a few too many beers and I wound up rambling about stuff that makes no damn sense to anyone except myself.
Hey, that's all that's important.
Right? I think so. All right, let me see. Where's the big board? All right, who are we looking up? Darian Kinnard. Darian Kinnard. Let's. All right, Darian Kinnard. He's the 62nd ranked player on Pro Football Focus's big board. He's from the University of Kentucky. Kinnard is one of the most accomplished run blockers at the tackle position in college football. Even though he may end up at guard, Kinnard has earned 89.0 plus run blocking grades over the past 3 seasons. This past year, he was the number 7th overall tackle out of 609 graded. In 2020, he was the 5th graded tackle out of 460 graded. And in 2019, he was the 11th graded tackle out of 443 ranked. So you're talking a dude that has ranked in the top 11 each of the last 3 years. I did not know anything about this guy, but based on the Pro Football Focus numbers, dude, I would love to have him on our team.
Yeah, love Darian Kinnard. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love it that's the thing. We're going to start taking some, wait a minute. Yeah, we're going to start taking some 4th, 5th round offensive linemen. That's where to get guys that you need to sit for a year, but then they can come in the year after. They know the system. That's the pipeline. That's where you want to start getting your offensive line. We've needed to plug holes. So now that we got our offensive line, for the most part, now we're going to start taking guys and grooming them. And that's when shit gets good, guys. Darian Kinnard would be perfect. I'm still hoping we get Bernard Raymond in the second. See if that happens.
Mike Saunder, Hawk, and Michael Dubois. You guys have all been qualified for our t-shirt giveaway that we will be doing in just a few seconds here. We're going to burn through our last few super chats. Green Empire Lawn Care, which I assume is a business, and you should totally use him because he's got a gigantic, great business, not a massive dong like I was going to say. He says, thank you for the super chat. According to Next Gen, Linderbaum is rated at 99. I'm assuming 99 out of 100 is the stat that you're saying. Linderbaum is an elite talent that I think a lot of people are going to be really excited about because of Mawai, because of Mangold. But what scares me about Linderbaum is, taking a top 10 pick and turning it into center. That scares the heck out of me. What do you say, Green Bean?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, look, everybody was really in love with Linderbaum, and I get it. I mean, he's, you watch his tape, he's an exciting guy. He can pull from the center position and get to the outside and lead on sweeps and all that stuff. He's an exciting player. That all said, we were talking about top 10, and none of us really, I'll speak for myself. We weren't, it's not realistic. It's not a realistic pick. He's not a top 10 player. He's not a top 10 center, and center is not really a top 10 position. If that's the only position you need, absolutely. But I don't know. I think 99 might be a little low. I think he's probably up, a little bit more than that. But
well, I think he means 99 out of 100. Do you think he means 99 overall? I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he meant 99. Yeah, I thought that was low, like 99 overall player. That's what I thought he was saying. They mean 99, so he's a perfect player.
I think that's where he's going.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, he's light. Look, a lot of teams aren't going to like him. He's light. The last guy that we justified a center that was light in the first round is Garrett Bradbury, and he's having difficulty, man. And the whole thing with him is that he was technically sound and very athletic and mobile, and he's very fast. And they justified it. Now, he's not a terrible center by any stretch, but he's having difficulty, and he's not exactly considered a good first-round pick. But there was justification made because of all the other variables, the athleticism. That might be where Linderbaum can be categorized. Not the same player, of course, but that's where the concern is. Again, even if he's a 99 out of 100, taking him with a top 10 pick, especially when we already have a center, it's just not realistic. It's not a good move.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at as well. Top Provolone, aka the Swiss cheese mother trucker. Sorry, I totally made that up.
Stop
Top
cursing.
Provolone, he's a cheesy kind of guy. He says, what is an underrated need that you guys think the Jets will address in the second or third rounds? I think it's running back. Running back is the one that I think is totally under thought about. That could be a pick in the top 3. And I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think it could be one of those needs. Linebacker, I feel like, is squarely in the forefront of people's minds. Maybe tight end at this point because we went with the 2 tight ends at free agency, but I think tight end is still where people are kind of thinking at some point in the draft. Greeby, what about you? What do you think about a second or third round pick that might be a sneaky need for the New York Jets?
I'm right with you. I think it's running back, man. And here's the thing. Here's the justification. Here's the sneaky backdoor justification for it. Mm-hmm. We already went and got our tight ends. We want to be a 12 personnel team predominantly. We also want to have 22 and 21 wrinkles, which means 2 running backs. We already brought in Nick Bawden. Okay. We have Michael Carter, and we brought Tevin Coleman back. In my opinion, Austin Walter, Ty Johnson, and sadly, LaMichael Pirine probably won't be on the team. So we already got that. Our receivers are stronger than the fans think. We got Corey Davis, we got Elijah Moore, we got Braxton Berrios, who I think the Jets staff wants to make a 3, not a 4. Mm-hmm. So if Berrios is your 3, and then you have Mims behind him, you can get a wide receiver later and be fine with them. But think about this. If you want to be a 12, 21, and 22 personnel, what's the hole? The hole is running back. Now, we have Michael Carter. I'm not saying I don't like Michael Carter, but you already took care of a lot of the surrounding needs. You got the line, everything. The opportunity to grab the best running back in the draft, most likely at 35, that might supersede the idea of getting the 8th or 9th best wide receiver, or, whatever it might be, the 4th linebacker. It might take precedence, man. This offense wants to be able to run the ball. Michael Carter's good. He needs a running mate. That's Isaiah Spiller.
Dude, I'm right there with you. I think it's one of those things where it's like people don't really expect the Jets to go that route, but I think it's 100% a route they could 100% go. Let's see. We got Michael Dubois dropping in with a super chat. Says, Green Bean, I watched your chat with Let's Talk Jets the other day. You have any openings on your writing staff? Ooh, do you have any openings?
Yeah. Well, Michael, go ahead and email me, bean at greenbeanjetsfan.com. Go ahead, write to me, talk to me about what you'd want to write, maybe a sample. I have somebody else I'm working with too right now. We got �W2K and Dom C already providing slam dunk content on greenbeanjetsfan.com, and I'm looking for other guys. So yeah, man, let me know.
You know what's really cool? We have 7 dislikes. I can see every person that dislikes on this stream, and it's pretty comical.
Who are they? Let's out them.
I'm gonna keep that hush hush. I'm not gonna say it, but it's
Oh.
interesting. The people that wind up disliking are very interesting there. But I
can't wait to find out.
Oh, I'll tell you after the stream.
Yeah, I
Marty
can't wait.
drops in with a super chat, says Trey McBride, tight end from Colorado State, my Aussie Jet dark horse. I love Trey McBride. There's no way he's going to be a New York Jet. I think he goes number 31 to the Cincinnati Bengals after losing 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐫𝐷. And I don't think the Jets are looking at tight end in the second round. Green Bean, what are your thoughts?
I think, number one, I think that we're going to take 7 players in the second round because I love them so much. We need 7 second-round picks, like Ed was saying earlier. But imagine this. I think they love Trey McBride, and I think I love Trey McBride, but I think the fact that we went out and signed 2 legitimate NFL tight ends is probably going to take the top tight end in the class out of our reach, most likely. But what if they blow everybody's doors off and take Breece Hall and Trey McBride in the second? You want to talk about committing to the plan?
Wow.
You want to talk about committing to the plan, huh?
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, we're gonna roll people this year. You know what I mean?
Could you imagine they're like, hey, we're going running back, tight end in the second. We're going wide receiver at 10, and we're going offensive line. Like, they just blow all of us out of the water. They're like, we're totally loading up on offense. Screw the defense. We'll lose as many games as possible. Like, we need Zach Wilson to be the guy. I don't see it happening. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. But, man, I think
it's possible.
Incredible.
It is possible. Like, if Trey McBride is just, look, they worked with him for a week. He had a perfect combine. He had a perfect Senior Bowl week. They loved him. They used him. They used him. He ended up scoring a touchdown. He had a couple receptions. They love him. Okay? If they decide, you know what? We're going to go with 2 and 3 tight end sets. We got the receivers for 12 personnel. All you need is Elijah Moore and Corey Davis on the field, or Braxton Berrios. That's all you need for 12 personnel. If you go 22 personnel, all you need is 1 wide receiver. And they go out there. Think about if they use 3 tight end sets. You got, Uzomah, you got Conklin, you got Trey McBride with Kenny Yeboah sitting behind these guys. Dude, we can literally change the NFL. Wouldn't it be nice if the Jets were at the forefront of a new trend as opposed to trying to catch up to everybody? Oh no, the Belichick he's running 2 tight end sets. We got to go and draft a bunch of safeties so we can cover them. Oh no, they're making quick wide receivers. We got to get a bunch of smaller nickelbacks so we can cover them. And that's what we're seeing with like the Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill thing. It's like everybody wants to run out and get cornerbacks. That's playing from behind. Let's go in front of them and run 3 and 4 tight end sets and just beat the living shit out of everybody in the NFL. Wouldn't that be great?
14 personnel right there. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Brandon drops in with a super chat. He says, pick 4, Kayvon Thibodeaux. Pick 10 to the Steelers for number 20 and 52 plus next year's first-round pick. I love it. He says, Brisker at 35, Pickens at 38, McBride at 52. I still don't think McBride makes it that far. Tyler Algier at 117, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐿 146, Noah Ellis 163, Bo Melton. Man, I would love
Kellen Deach.
Yeah. Look, I like this draft a lot. If you could trade down from 10, get 20, 52, and next year's first, sign me up all damn day.
So we take Brisker and Pickens after taking Thibodeaux with the trade back. We got 52, which is McBride. Then Tyler Algier, who I don't love, but if the Jets do, I'm fine with it. Yep. Kellen Deach, I like a whole bunch. Noah Ellis, I'm not familiar with. I got to take a look at him. And Bo Melton, the Rutgers boy. I'd rather go Kyle Phillips there, but yeah, I would sign up for this. Sure.
Logan drops in with a super chat. Logan says, I'm hearing we could land Saquon. Any thoughts? I don't think that's realistic. I really don't. Like, I know there were rumors of like Saquon being traded and Bradbury being traded. And I made a video about it, and a bunch of people were like, oh man, we got to do this. And I'm like, it's not where I want to go. Like, I really like Saquon. I don't want to trade a pick for him, or at least a pick that I think would make it worth the Giants' while to trade him, because I'm not giving up a top 2-round pick for Saquon Barkley, unfortunately. What would you give up, Greenbean? Is there a pick you would give up for Saquon? I would say a 3rd-round pick would be where I would pull the trigger on Saquon. I don't think I would do it before then.
4th, man. 4th. I mean, he's about as talented of a running back as there is in the NFL, but he's got 2 season-ending injuries, and he's coming up for a contract. So if he has a great year, you know what you're up against. So if he has a bad year, then you've wasted the pick. If he has a great year, you're going to have to pay a friggin' running back, $15 million or whatever it is. So I don't know. It seems like a bad situation. I'm not giving up much. Sad to say.
Brandon Frey wants to add on to his super chat from before. So he said, Thibodeaux at number 4, trade down with the Steelers to number 20. He forgot to tell us what the 20 pick would be. He says, I would take Linderbaum at 20. I don't think Linderbaum makes it past the Ravens at 12 or 14. I think they're 14. I would be surprised if he fell to 20. By all means, pull the trigger, trade McGovern to like the Chargers for a 4th-round pick. That's where I would go. If you were going this sort of situation, I would look at Nakobe Dean as well. I think there's a few guys you could possibly look at here. Logan drops in with a super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, opinions on Muhammad Wilkerson and Calvin Pryor. Okay, so let me give you my thoughts. Muhammad Wilkerson, I thought, was gonna be a stud, at least like a consistently good player, and I'm a little shocked that he kind of gave up the way he did. Calvin Pryor, dude, I was all about. I thought wide receiver should have been the pick, but Calvin Pryor, the Louisville Slugger, like the nickname had me all sorts of hyped up, and I was like, I just want to smack people around. But when you're looking at like Mike Evans, Odell Beckham Jr., Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks.
Oh, dude,
yeah, it goes
so
on
many.
and on.
I think Jarvis Landry was in that class. Like, dude, that was an elite wide receiver class in 2014, I think is what it was.
2000. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna go over it again.
Yeah.
All right. Here's how it went. You ready?
Yep. Let's go.
Buffalo Bills traded up 2 firsts to get Sammy Watkins first. Okay.
Oh man, I forgot he was part of that class. Wow. I thought Mike Evans was the first one. Yeah,
they couldn't wait. So then Mike Evans went. Then Odell Beckham Jr. went. Then Marquise Lee went. Okay.
Really?
So then we had
Lee. What was his number? 14, 15?
I don't remember. Like he was right before us, so we were like, I think we're 16. Yeah,
somewhere in there. Yeah. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought Marquise was that high.
Oh, maybe he was. Hold on, I might not be. All right, let me see. Hold on a second here. I'm gonna redo this. Hold on. I think I got the ratings. Let me see. But I do remember. Let me just see this.
I remember Brandon Cooks going just after us.
Yeah, because that's the guy we should have taken. I thought we were gonna.
Watkins,
all right.
Sammy Watkins.
So here's how it went. Yeah. So at 4, hold on, I got it. Hold on.
Ah, fine.
Why are you jumping over me, man? You know I'm working on it.
I got excited.
So okay, the Buffalo Bills did that trade for Sammy Watkins, right? Then we got Mike Evans at 7.
Yep.
Then it was Beckham at 12.
Yep.
Then it was Brandon Cooks at 20. The Jets picked 18th.
Yep.
Right. So then we had Kelvin Benjamin.
Okay.
Then we had Marquise Lee. He was later. Jordan Matthews, who was the guy I wanted in the second.
From the Eagles. Yep.
Then we have Paul Richardson. Then we have Devontae Adams in the second. Then Allen Robinson in the second. Then Jarvis Landry in the second.
You could argue
I know,
the second round's better than the first round. I mean, I love Evans. I love Odell, and I like Brandon Cooks, but you could argue the second round value-wise is better than those first-round receivers.
Absolutely. So then you had Josh Huff, Dante Moncrief, who had a couple of good years there early on. Then we had John Brown. Okay. Let's see. Well, I'll just do all right. So then we had Jalen Saunders was our big wide receiver pick.
That's a kick in the dick.
104. And then we got Quincy Enunwa later. But to answer this question, Ryan, it's really funny because I wanted Brandon Cooks so bad in that draft. I was like, yes, we're going to get him. And we took Calvin Pryor. And trying desperately to justify this new general manager that we had, right? This is after Tannenbaum's gone.
Yep.
I had to make sense of it. I said to myself,
picks? Is that right? 13 picks in that draft?
12. The 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞 12. Yeah.
Yes.
So still though, right? So, and that was because he cleaned up Tannenbaum's mess and got 4 comp picks that year. That's what ended up happening. So my justification was they know what they're doing. They know that this is the deepest wide receiver class in NFL history. No need to reach for a first round. Take the best safety in the class and then get your wide receiver in the second. And obviously we know that they didn't do that. So, I mean, and we know that the draft was just a complete shit show. But every pick that they made, Jason Morrow, I did like. I have to admit, I did like Jason Morrow. Yep. But we took Jason Morrow 4 picks before Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson, and then Jarvis Landry. But 4 picks before Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams just made $28.3 million. And Jason Morrow has been out of the league since year 3. I mean, I think he had 3 years in the NFL. But I did like Jason Morrow, but I wanted Jordan Matthews, but he was taken. But think about it, man. Every single pick that they did, I watched that whole draft. I was on Jet Nation in the chat. We used to chat on Jet Nation Live. Every pick, it got worse and worse and worse. I said, they don't know what they're doing. Like, I knew it. Like, at first, I'm like, okay, this is going to be brilliant. Every pick, it got worse and worse and worse. Then we're taking Shaq Evans, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, what are we doing? Like, these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. And we didn't have a legitimate scouting department.
That was a huge part of this whole thing. 100%.
Yeah. Rex, right? Jeffrey R's got it. That was Rex Ryan's draft. Think about it.
Is that the John Connor draft? No, John Connor was earlier. That was like 2010.
No, that was Tanny. Yeah, but think about this. Rex Ryan just figured out a way to make Tannenbaum fall on the knife for him. Okay. Mm-hmm. He figured it out. He worked it around. They should have both been fired or both been retained, right? So Mike Tannenbaum gets fired. Rex is going into his 5th year. We get a general manager that's an accountant and shouldn't even be a general manager. And you think he's coming in and he's Rex's boss? Hell no.
No way.
Hell
Rex knew
no.
exactly what he was. Rex thought he knew what he was doing. Just unfortunately was not a great talent evaluator.
No, very bad.
Prisco. Steven, thank you so much for joining the Jets Talk 24/7 family. Members, drop a JETS in the chat for our newest member. Means a whole heck of a lot, for sure. The next boy up, we got Marty Thompson with the super chat. Says, Aussie Jet running back, dark horse, Kenneth Walker, the third from Michigan State. He would have to be a 2nd-round pick for sure. What are your thoughts on the running back position in the 2nd round, Green Bean?
Well, I think Kenneth, I don't think there's going to be a 1st-round running back in this class. There may be one at the end. I got to really look at the last 5 or 6.
Tampa's the position I think might go running back.
Right. They're letting Leonard Fournette go. So I think like the last 5 picks, 6 picks of the draft, you might see one. But it's very possible that there are no 1st-round running backs. And that's what I'm saying. You could theoretically get the best running back in this class. Let's say you go edge and you go wide receiver, or edge and whatever. You can go wide receiver at 35 and running back at 38 and get the best running back in the class, or at least the best running back on your board. Like last year, they had Elijah Moore as the 16th overall player. He was the top wide receiver on their board, and they got him at 33. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's same thing with Michael Carter. They had Michael Carter as a late 2nd, 3rd-round pick. They couldn't believe he was still sitting there in the 4th. So they got one of their top players way back there in the 4th. So at pick 35, it's not unrealistic to think that you can get the best running back, or at least the best running back on their board for the team. If it's Kenneth Walker, fantastic, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. Knifey Spoony. I've never heard of a name like that, but I love the Simpsons logo. It almost reminds me of like a Futurama-esque kind of name, or I guess a Simpson-y kind of name. It's like a Simpson hit and run kind of thing. Did you ever, are you a big video game person, Green Bean? Like, did you ever play Simpsons hit and run?
No, I'm not a big Vinny.
Dude.
I was a big Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, but I don't really play much video games.
That's a great game. But dude, Simpsons Hit and Run was like Grand Theft Auto Simpsons style, and this is like Knifey Spoony reminds me of like a character in that. He says, if we draft Sauce, any chance we trade Bryce Hall for picks or maybe include him in a package to trade back up into the first round? Jets seem higher on 𝐒𝐿. There's a little bit of
silly, and then one injury and we're done.
Are we done though? Because I like Guidry and I like Michael Carter in the slot. If you had Sauce and you had DJ Reed and you had 𝐒𝐿 as your three and you had the two slot guys, I mean, I guess I could see it. Look, I don't think Hall's getting traded by any means, but in this type of situation, I do think 𝐒𝐿 might wind up being the better corner of the two. It wouldn't shock me. Would it shock you, Green Bean, if 𝐒𝐿 was? It
wouldn't shock me, and I think that they like 𝐒𝐿, but 𝐒𝐿 had the rougher season without question. But he did come down with 2 picks, and that's what a lot of fans see. Here's the thing. Now, if you took Sauce Gardner, then yes, it makes some room to do some moves and stuff like that. But isn't it interesting? This is what I find interesting, Ryan. Jets fans have been complaining for 3, 4, 5, 10 years that the Jets don't know how to keep their own players. Now we have a guy, he was a 5th-round pick. He started all 17 games for us, learning a brand new system. He is statistically, he had a very good season. Now he didn't come down with picks, but he played well. Okay, he had a lot of passes defense. I think it was 10. Like, he did well. Wouldn't you want us, like, what happened to us wanting to keep homegrown guys? Why do we want to jettison a guy year 3 and start all over with a new pick, a new guy learning the system and all that shit? Like, it doesn't fit to me. Now, granted, do you think Sauce is an upgrade? Yeah, sure. That could be, you know what I mean? I get it. But again, we don't need to upgrade Bryce Hall. We don't like having 𝐒𝐿 and Hall and Michael Carter II, who I think is a fantastic slot. Guidry, I like as a backup nickel, but I don't really like him. They were playing him on the outside and shit. I don't want to see that anymore. DJ Reed, Bryce Hall, or 𝐒𝐿, you know, coming in, and then Michael Carter in the slot. If somebody goes down, you have Isaiah Dunn, you have Javelin Guidry coming in. But I don't know why everybody wants to move Bryce Hall so fast. Like, he's the only guy on the whole team who played all 17 games for us, and he played well. It's crazy town. What's wrong with us?
Steven drops in with super chat, says Thibodeaux at 4, trade number 10 to New Orleans for number 8, 49, and a next year's 3rd. Says Linderbaum at 18, Dotson at 35, Brisker at 38, Muma at 49, Winfrey at 69. I think there's a real shot Dotson goes in the first round. I think he's really good. From everything that I've heard, he is absolutely a top wide receiver in this class. He had a great pro day. Brisker I like a lot too. I love Muma. I like Winfrey. So I don't hate this situation by any means. I just question why teams would want to trade up to number 10. Like, I don't think Washington is a threat to take a quarterback after trading 2 seconds for a quarterback in Carson Wentz. What are your thoughts on trading down from number 10? You think it's realistic?
Yeah, I do think it's realistic for like the one with the Steelers. Like, if Malik Willis makes it to 10, I can see a legitimate trade down scenario. Trading down to New Orleans at 18, right? Like, who do they want to come get? Who is it? You know, like, they just blew up the whole thing. They lost Sean Payton. Obviously, they lost Drew Brees the year before. Who is it? Like, who's the one piece that they want to trade 49 in next year's 3rd to jump up 8 spots to get? I don't know. Now, would I do it? That seems a little bit light for me to jump down 8 spots. I think I would need, 49 in next year's 2nd at worst. I'd have to look at it all, but it just feels light. I think trading back from 10 is very possible, but then again, you have to look and see, what do they want? Like, so Steven, who do they want? so badly that they're going to jump up. That's what I have difficulty with for this one.
I kind of agree with you there. I'm looking at the chat and I see Jeffrey R says, Jude Jets called it on Brandon Echols. I love me some Jude Jets. If you guys haven't watched Jude Jets' channel, the dude knows his stuff. He's really good. I'll go back and forth to Jude on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. And it's like, hey, what do you think about this? He knows his stuff. He's a younger dude,
I'm gonna put his link in the I'm gonna put the link to his show in the chat for everybody.
You should. You absolutely should. I like Jude a lot, dude, and it's cool because we've watched him from it's funny because he looked super young when he first started his channel, and he's growing a lot in it's been a year or two, whatever it is, it's impressive. But he knows his stuff. That's what's interesting. We gotta have Jude on the show. Totally, man. I had him on the Thursday Thick of It a few weeks back. He slammed it home. He told me he ended up getting 30 subs. A lot of people that go, they're like, dude, I didn't know this kid was legit. He's legit. Dude, I'm telling you, Jude knows his stuff. I legitimately. I'll sit there and I'll listen to him and be like, he's not a dummy. He's not a dummy. This kid's smart. He absolutely is a smart dude. I love it. I love seeing people like that. Marty Thompson drops in with a super chat, says, my wide receiver, Jalen Tolbert, safety, Alabama is my best friend. Hammer, pick it. I don't get it. Is this some Australian humor that I don't understand, Green Bean? It doesn't make sense to me. No comprendo.
Wide receiver Jalen Tolbert from Alabama is my best value. What? Yeah. What is he saying?
Here we go.
No, Jalen Tolbert's good. He's a big one. He's 6'3". So,
6'3".
I mean, yeah. He's saying best value. Hey, that's the thing. Look,
South Alabama. That's what it is. South Alabama.
Oh, there it is. There's an S there. There's an S there.
That's what threw me off. I was like, who the hell is he? I was like, I don't know what we're talking about. Okay, best value.
So think about it. But he might be. I mean, that's the thing. Look, you look at the back end of Joe Douglas's, even the front end. Nobody thought, I'm telling you right now, you and I, we are enmeshed in Jets prediction culture. I didn't hear one friggin' person say Joe Douglas was going to take Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, Jason Pinnock, Jamie and Sherwood. So who knows? That could be Joe Douglas's wide receiver one, could be Jalen Tolbert. We don't know.
We have a sample size now, right? We could kind of see, okay, which types of players are they going for? Is it certain schools? Is it certain skill levels? Is it certain, I don't know. There's a lot of different things that they could go. So I'm looking at the Draft Network. They say they gave Kenneth Sanchez, gave him a 75 out of 100. It's a third round grade is what they're saying. Does that sound right? I mean, I don't know his names. They're saying, so on the Draft Network, they're saying a 75 out of 100. It's a third round grade from Keith Sanchez. I guess the guy that wrote up the scouting report on him.
Yeah, third round, right? Third, fourth. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Sure.
Scheme versatile traits is what they're saying. Okay. Dude, 6'3", that's a big dude.
Yeah. Jalen Tolbert. Thing is, he played at South Alabama. So,
Understood. Craig drops in the super chat, says, would you trade 10 for Claypool and the 20? I'd want more than that. I really would, because I don't think Claypool is enough to consider him. Well, let's see what is the difference between.
No.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Not enough for me.
No. Well, okay, hold on. Trade value chart. I want to see what the difference perceived value is from 20 to 10, because that's where they'd be coming up. So 850 to jump up to 1,300. You're talking 450 points. 450 points is equivalent to a mid-second. It's the 45th overall pick. So you're saying that Chase Claypool is equivalent to the pick that you got him at, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And he might have raised his value, actually, because he performed in the NFL.
He did. He had a great rookie season. He had a questionable second-year campaign, but I think that's fine. It's nothing that would scare me away from him. I would want more if they're coming up for a quarterback. That's what I would say. I think mid-second round is what Claypool's value is. But I would want more than
Yeah.
that. That's where
Yeah. I would need more, right? I think I would need a little more. Throw on a fourth.
Absolutely. Yeah, just make
second.
it a little sweeter. That's just it. Like, it's almost like this thought of trading down. Like we were talking about with the Giants. If the Giants came to the Jets and they said, hey, or the Jets went to the Giants and they're like, yo, Carolina's offering us, a second round pick to go back 2 slots. You give us, a third round pick. We'll drop back 1. Or a 4th round pick. Like there's a value in them getting their top guy and like knowing we're getting our guy. Like, is it a 5th round pick? Like whatever it is, it could be worth a 7th. Like, it could be worth that, little. Yo, Jake Asman. What's up, brother?
He's here. There he is. Look at him. He's right over there.
Jake's coming on the draft stream. He's coming on day 2 or 3. Love it,
nice.
brother.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Check Jake out. Jake's a dude.
Let's ask Jake. Jake,
yes,
if you
Jake.
see, because here's the thing: when you got a team trying to trade up for a quarterback, you're supposed to make it a premium. They're the ones that want to come up, so you squeeze them.
Yes.
Jake, would you trade back from 10 to 20 with the Steelers for Claypool? Like, if all they gave you was Claypool and 20, is that enough to get you up to 10? What do you think, Jake?
I think he says no. I think that's what he's going to say.
That's what we're saying.
I think that's it. Come on, Jake. Hopefully he didn't just bounce. He's just like, yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah, that happens.
That's all right. Dude, Jake's... Nah, he's going to... Come on, dude.
My beard's doing something weird. It's been bothering me all night. I don't know what the hell it's doing. It's like
Your
popping
beard's
up.
Beautiful. If I could grow a beard... Oh, hold on. I'm with Ryan. Claypool isn't good enough for me to move back 10 full spots. Spot on analysis, Scott. Bam!
There you go, Jake.
Told you. Jake knows his shit. He knows his shit. Green Lawn Care. Thank you for the super chat. He says, hey, Ryan, can you send me a new Jets jersey? You got to come to the draft stream. We'll give away some jerseys. We'll give away a jersey each day of the draft stream. Each day.
Yeah, I'll give a shirt away too. I'm gonna give shoes. I got my old sneakers too.
Ooh.
They are. You
know what? We'll have Nightbot. I bet I could set a timer, and Nightbot will just.
Here they are.
You're gonna get a green bean shoe.
That's right. One.
I have a sock that has a hole in it. You'll get that too. I love
Skechers.
Knobcraft. Thank you so much, dude. He upgraded his membership. He's up to the 1st class tier. Thank you, brother.
Nice.
Means a lot. Richard Delgado says, I say Jets should draft Sauce at 4 and draft a coordinator at 10 and Banana Land in the 2nd round. Yo, Green Bean, I had some guys on my stream yesterday that were calling in. They're like, yo, the Jets should trade for a coordinator. I was like, yo, boom, chicken. Boom, flying across the screen. I was like, not having it.
They were saying to to trade for a coordinator?
Draft the Georgia coordinator. Like offensive and defensive.
Yeah.
Just like, bam.
People are
like,
silly.
That's who we want. I was like, all right, I see what's going on. Jerk.
Yeah. People are nuts, man. What's wrong with you guys?
It's
all good. Thomas Cahill drops in with super chat. He says, I think we double dip and take Karlaftis and Boye. That would be interesting. I like Karlaftis a lot. If you go, I wouldn't go Karlaftis at 4, I don't think. I mean, because I think we're going to have our pick of like at least the second edge through, the top 5. Like, I think you're going to have 4 guys that you like. So I don't know if I would take Karlaftis there, but I would take him at 10. And then Boye, would you have to get him in the 2nd? Probably like 38?
In my opinion, you're going to have to take Boye Mafe in the 2nd. And then maybe we're wrong, but I think he's too strong of a player, man. Think about the Senior Bowl. That was his first time ever playing in a 3-point stance, and look what he did. You know what I mean?
I would, dude. It would be awesome. He's one of the more popular players. I have people asking.
Yeah, he is. Sure. Right. I'm with you, Ryan. He is. Sorry to cut. I didn't mean to jump on you there.
Oh no, dude. It's all good. All right. Man, I am exhausted. All right, we got to give away a t-shirt. We went a little bit longer than.
Oh yeah, shit! I got to go back and see. Hold on, I got to find the guys.
It's all right.
I went and got Jude's link. All right, here we go. You ready for me?
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go with Scott Wilson.
Okay.
Taps any button. I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom and get some. Oh, look, here we go. All right.
Okay.
We got Iowan Jets fan. Let me see if there's anybody I see in the chat tonight. Doesn't look like it. Totally different group. All right, let's go with Jacob Finnegan.
Okay.
Older than dirt Jets fan, a.k.a. Walt.
Older than dirt?
Jets fan, yeah.
Dirt. Jets, that's a long name. Jets fan. Walt.
And let's do Across the Pond.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I imagine he's from across the pond. He's over there in Europe, in England, maybe.
So we had, who won it? Was it Braden Bethwaite wound up winning a T-shirt like a month ago. New Zealand. We got it there.
Yeah, see that?
Hell yeah. All right. Odds or evens? 3, 2, 1. We're going odds. I wrote a lot of names tonight.
You did?
I got a whole lot of names. I'm hitting my microphone. All right. 3, 2, 1. What is that? 7, 8, 9 odds. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, we have 3 names left. So chat, first number to pop up. 3, 2, 1. That's a 9 and a 6. It's a 15. What's the first number? 15
1.
plus what?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a 2. 15 plus 2. 15 plus 2 is 17. That's
17.
an odd number. Matthias and Pack, you're gone. It's Emanon. Emanon winds up winning a shirt.
Emanon! There he is.
Oop, Emanon. Right there. Emanon wins a shirt. Reach out.
Emanon wins a shirt.
Shoot me an email. Shoot me a DM. I'll get you your information and you get a shirt. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Green Bean, anything you got to say for the panel tonight?
Yeah, good stream, everybody. I'm happy to be here with you guys. We have the Thursday thick of it this week. We have Tyson Roush from Let's Talk Jets Radio on with us this Thursday. It's going to be awesome. I hope you guys can come hang.
Hell yeah. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you next week. JETS.